Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It's 7:45 in the morning. You may be on your way to work. You may be just waking up, but it's time to listen to world-class bullshitters put the world in world-class bullshitters. So last night, we had probably the most historic episode of the High Council. We had Doomcock on, Lord Doomcock, and it was a fantastic episode. So if you guys have missed the High Council, make sure you go back and listen to it. It was over 3 hours long. It was probably the most dense episode, and, your density has brought me to you. AKA, you should listen to that episode, because just because it has a lot of information doesn't mean it's not a lot of fun to listen to. We were able to have Doomcock come on, talk about entertainment. We hit all the super chats. We had a perfect flow of entertainment. So thank you to everyone that's already listened. Thank you to everyone that helped out the channel. And thank you to everyone that's slowly rolling here. 7:46 in the morning, and we have about 78 viewers. So once we hit our magical 200 number, we will start with today's main topic. Good morning to everybody. We see a lot of people from last night. Let's see who we have. Hello from Australia. Good evening from Australia, says Zachary Lewis. Well, hello from America, Zachary Lewis. McGinnis Experiment, 12:46 in Ireland. Oh, I wish I could sleep till 12:46 here in America. But I got to get up, get some coffee, and talk about pop culture. Yes, Andres, today is podcast day for at least Good Morning Pop Culture. The High Council focuses every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we alternate channels. So last night was my turn, and next week is Geeks and Gamers. So make sure you follow Geeks and Gamers, World Class Bullshitters, and Ethan Van Sciver's Comic Artist Pro Secrets to never miss an episode. Thank you, the Charming Curmudgeon, for your kind words about us hitting 60,000 subscribers. I'm really happy about that. We actually jumped another 200 and something right after. So it's been a good bit of growth. And we're on our way to that silver play button. My goal is to have that silver play button by the end of the year. And the way things are going, we're going to hit it. And I'm not stopping anytime soon. So I'm going to make sure it happens. Hello, Steve from Canada. Yes, David, tonight's Patreon Hangout is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to discuss anything you guys want. So I'll be sharing the link on Patreon, and you guys can click it and join. Since we've grown a lot, since we've had our last one, I'm going to have to cycle out people every once in a while. So if you guys were on the last one the whole time, wait a little bit to click the link so we can get some new blood in and have them talk. But everyone's welcome. So even if you were there last time, we want you to come back. I did see that Cecil did a live chat last night. It was at 2 in the morning. I was on my way to get something to eat and get some coffee, and I saw it, and I was going to listen to it, but I was listening to a horror podcast instead. Jonathan Critchlow, how do you get a GTA-style shirt from us? I can work something out for you today. I'll just put it on our Etsy store. Let me write that down on this never-ending list, and I'll post about that later. I'll put all the world-class bullshitter shirts on Etsy. We're going to build a website. I'll have that up by the next time the High Council's on world-class bullshitter, so 3 weeks. Let's see. Hello from Mentor, Ohio. Never been to Mentor, Ohio, so I don't know what part of Ohio it is, north, south, east, or west, but thank you for finding us. I'm glad you could make it to Gamepad 31. I appreciate it. Am I a fan of the 48 Hours movies? The first one's okay. The second one, not so much. But they're not my favorite Eddie Murphy movies. Dion loves those. Maybe when we do an Eddie Murphy retrospective, that'll come up. 48 Hours for sure. But if I'm going to rank my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, Beverly Hills Cop, Trading Places, Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop 2. I mean, 48 Hours might be tied with like The Golden Child. So I don't know if you take that as a positive or a negative. Good morning to you, Shamaniac. Andrew, I don't know if The Force Awakens was on Netflix. We're going to discuss that in greater detail and how we should all avoid it. Now, I'm not going to tell everyone that you should boycott Netflix because The Last Jedi's on there. That's dumb. If you want to boycott Netflix for other reasons, or this one, that's your prerogative. You guys can do what you please. But I'm just going to say I'm not watching it, and I'm giving it a thumbs down. Thank you, Sinful Souls. With morning shows now, I no longer feel like dying Halo Reach style when I wake up. Hey, you are right. Lots of Ohioans here. That's awesome. Buckeye State represent. It's the most boring state in the country. Well, no, Indiana's really boring. At least we have some cool cities. Indiana has Indianapolis. That's about it. Blockbuster is still better than Netflix. Yeah, Blockbuster had the nostalgia in there. So, folks, we've hit that magical number of 200 people watching. So let's talk about the main topic for today. Star Wars The Last Jedi is now on your favorite streaming service. First off, Nick Pino, who are you to tell me what my favorite streaming service is? Is Star Wars The Last Jedi on Shudder? Is it on Amazon Prime? Maybe it's on Amazon Prime. As the debate to remake The Last Jedi rages on, yes, that's seriously happening. Oh, well, I guess I muted myself. I got a new microphone. Sorry about that, folks. All I was saying to you is this is just one big advertisement for there we go. I'm there. I didn't get swatted by Disney. Can you hear me now? No sound. There we go. He's alive. Yeah, folks, I told you guys I was going to upgrade the equipment here on the channel, so I got a Blue Yeti microphone. I had to sneeze. I hit the mute button, and I guess I didn't hit it properly enough. So thank you for sticking with us. Kita Hoshimaru has a super chat. Thank you very much. Have you ever seen the webcomic series Adventure of Dr. McNinja? It's as cool as it sounds. I have not, and it sounds really cool. Let me look at that real quick while we're talking about The Last Jedi. All I was saying before I accidentally, muted myself and came off sounding like a tool was this is just one big advertisement for The Last Jedi, and I don't think they'll be able to spin it in a positive way. Like, hey guys, it's on Netflix, so you're gonna find this movie and really appreciate it. Are we? Are we? I don't think anyone can find a way to appreciate this movie. And Dr. McNinja looks pretty damn cool. The Braille edition of The Last Jedi. That's awesome. I don't know if The Force Awakens was on Netflix. I would never watch that movie again. The only time I ever watched it was when it hit, when we did it for our live commentary, or not live commentary, our Patreon commentary. That was the first thing that we decided to do, and that was the only time that I watched the movie and at home. Paul McBride says he likes the way I host the High Council. It gives more time to talk about and discuss the topics. Thank you, Paul McBride. I told you guys, don't worry about the super chats. They still rolled in, and I still read every single one. So when World Class Bullshitters is hosting, you're going to get a nice flow of that. Plus, we all have learned how to read the super chats a little better. Before we were reading the pop-up chat, and as you guys can see, it just rolls on, and it's hard to follow sometimes, but not last night. So there we go. That's the future. Okay, The Force Awakens was on Netflix. There we go. So it's a Disney thing. Why can't I ever get The Empire Strikes Back on Netflix? Or even Return of the Jedi? You know, maybe I'm bored sitting at the house one day and I'm like, I really want to watch Luke Skywalker redeem his father. And I don't want to watch some crappy 480p edit on YouTube. Anthony, I don't think Netflix releases the stats on how many times a film has been streamed. We probably won't, but I'd be surprised if they wouldn't announce it just because for The Last Jedi. Remember how there's that rumor that they altered the rating system for Amy Schumer's thing? Well, The Last Jedi will be the first one where they announce the numbers. 47 trillion downloads in the first day alone. Like 20 times more the planet's population has streamed The Last Jedi because it's that great. Wild Warlock, thank you. And good morning. Careful using the words boycott. People at Lucasfilm would like you to use the term non-white gender natural cot with pansexual notions. Whatever the verbiage is to use, just don't go see the goddamn movie. Yes, Rogue One is on Netflix. I think that was did I watch it? I don't know. I bought the Blu-ray. Guilty as charged. I was at Costco. You guys know what it is. You're at Costco, you're getting a gross of toilet paper and a 5,000 pack of condoms or something like that, and you see Rogue One on Blu-ray and you pick it up. How am I seeing the fandom after episode 9, even with the SJW Lucas Pro? This is an excellent question. I'm seeing the fandom stronger than ever. The people that found this channel, as well as Geeks and Gamers and EVS, I think we'll all stick together, because the one thing about the World Class Bullshitters fans, especially if you're a member over on our Facebook page, is that we're all friends now. Star Wars, the bad Star Wars has brought us together, and we found other topics to discuss and other things to enjoy and embrace and other ways to fix Star Wars. So after the SJW purge that is known as current day Lucasfilm has taken place, they're purged out of there, I think the fandom will be not as divided, because no one's going to complain to see more Luke Skywalker stuff or Princess Leia stuff out on the store shelves. People will actually buy it. We won't be forced to pick up crappy characters. There will be no more Rose Ticos. There will be no more excuses and nothing that they can hide behind. It's not going to be us being told we're a bunch of racists and sexists. It's going to be, here's characters you like, embrace, consume. I hate to say it, but the search for profit is more noble than the search for whatever Lucasfilm is currently doing. The fandom menace definitely awakens. We can't be put back to sleep. Never again. Never again. I'm a morning racist. Thank you, Lando Calrissian, you smooth space pimp, a.k.a. Spimp. So what's the story with Rogue One? Is it the only decent Star Wars film ever since Disney Lucasfilm made their demonic pact to ruin Star Wars? I would say so. I would definitely say so. For me, it's the one that does the most right. Is it a perfect film? No. But it's not a terrible film. It falls in an area where parts of it are truly awesome and parts of it are just bland. Jyn Erso is kind of bland. Like I've said before, guys, when I saw Rogue One for the first time, I thought we were going to get another Mary Sue. But the moment her ass was chokeslammed by K2SO, I was there. I was very happy. I was kind of relieved that we weren't going to get that stuff. And speaking of K2SO, we had a really great, memorable character. Everyone that I've spoken to cared about K2SO, a robot that we all cared about. L337, not so much. Admiral Holdo, another robot we didn't care about. Let's see. Your money is your vote. Choose wisely. I hope episode 9 performs so badly, underperforms badly. Yeah, I agree. I think that that's going to be an indicator. But they deserve it. It's not like we've done anything wrong. They're the ones that have wronged us. Thank you, Cesario Japan. Isn't Netflix like infested with SJW shit shows? Yeah. I was out buying a chair the other day, and I sat down in the chair for a minute to see how comfortable it was, and the Netflix Facebook page popped up, and that was a bunch of stuff I saw. And if anyone says I'm canceling my service, it was all a bunch of you're mad, you're angry, you're hateful, blah, blah, blah. I just don't watch those shows. And my reason for wanting to cancel Netflix is I don't like any of their original content outside of the Marvel stuff. SJW or not, progressive or not. I don't care if it's a straight white dude that's running it or it's got Christina Hendricks in it. It just, there's stuff, the production quality is fine, but it just, the stories are shitty. Like Ozark is one of the most offensive things I've ever watched. Not in terms of the, it's got objectionable content. I just hated the character. Maybe that falls into the whole cucky Jason Bateman character, but it's Kmart Breaking Bad, and I don't necessarily need Kmart Breaking Bad. If you want to basically rip off the plot of Breaking Bad, do it with some style. I don't think taking Walter White and his family and uprooting them to the Ozark Mountains makes for an interesting tale. Only the last 5 minutes or so of the series was interesting, where the hillbillies shot all the Mexican cartel guys. Other than that, it was a waste of my time that I don't know why I sat and watched all of it. But if I want to watch something that's worth my time, like Luke Cage, I binged that over a couple days, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. And that's how Marvel can do diversity right. It was a very entertaining 13 or 14 hours, however long the series was, because some episodes were more than an hour, some were less. But it was a very entertaining portion of my life, and I want more stuff like that. And we can get that from other streaming services. Maybe not Marvel stuff per se, but 11/22/63, which was over on Hulu, was a whole hell of a lot more entertaining, for me at least, than Ozark and Orange is the New Black. What Orange is the New Black has become. I thought it was a very charming show in its initial couple seasons. I really liked all the characters. But then it got, when it did the whole Black Lives Matter movement in the end of the season, and it just, I'm like, look it, guys, I get it. There's the political stuff, which wouldn't make sense in terms of the timeline that she's in jail. That's what pisses me off. And what also pisses me off is the fact that Piper Chapman chick's supposed to have been in jail for, 18 months? I mean, how long are they going to milk it? Just get her out of jail and focus on the other ones. And they killed Poussey, and she was the best character on the show. So that was that. High Reclusiarch Grimaldus, thank you very much. Star Wars is like a kick in the balls. The Force Awakens was swift, sudden, and extremely painful. The Last Jedi was the delayed reaction of the fandom. Good morning, by the way. Well, good morning to you, High Reclusiarch Grimaldus, and thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Pop Culture, as well as joining us last night for the High Council. I saw your name. I butchered it. Don't worry. I remember. Yeah, the pain was swift, and it just happened. And then, the aftermath is The Last Jedi. It's just funny how before, it seems like everyone was all happy. It was all sunshine and rainbows in terms of, hey guys, The Force Awakens was great, and Star Wars is saved. And then we get this one, and now everyone's like, hey, fuck it. Fuck it. So the tides have turned, the tables have turned on The Force Awakens, and I'm okay with that. Well, Ricardo Weira, sorry if I butchered that, I apologize. Give some of Kevin Feige's latest statements, soon more female heroes, etc. Do you think Marvel is paying attention to the Star Wars backlash? I would like to think they're paying attention to the Star Wars backlash. I think that Kevin Feige is too smart to jump into that, but at the same time, I'm worried that his boss is telling him these things. Now, more female superheroes are fine. There are a bunch of great Marvel superheroes. Make sure you pick the right ones that fit with the pre-existing MCU. Don't make the other characters become subservient to them because they're new and they want to be woke over at Marvel. Like, I heard that quote from Kevin Feige. Okay, I read the quote. I didn't hear it from his lips, but somebody quoted him as saying Captain Marvel's going to be the most powerful hero in the MCU. No thanks. No. Why? Well, what's that going to do? That's going to be, everyone bitches about Superman, and these same people that bitch about Superman are going to praise Captain Marvel because of reasons. So let's just hope that those people are honest and they don't have the double standard. Well, Superman's not interesting. He's invincible. He's blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but Superman has the best interest and heart for humanity, and that's where his where's the interesting aspect of his character comes from. The fact that he is a god, but he wants to be human, and tries to do that, help people become better and help themselves, type of thing. Captain Marvel, her stories are a little different, actually a lot different. But they'd be stupid not to pay attention to the Star Wars backlash, because it's costing them money. I don't think Marvel wants to have the Star Wars negativity. They're coming off of Infinity War, the biggest movie ever from Marvel. And then they got Ant-Man and the Wasp in, 2 weeks, 10 days or something like that. I don't think that's going to be fantastic. I'm not disinterested in the movie. But I feel like we've been to the mountaintop, guys. And now everything else is just meh. I know that sounds very disappointing in terms of how I'm going to regard Ant-Man. Ant-Man could be awesome. I love the first one. But I don't necessarily have the same hype because of where we've been. And maybe, hopefully, in a perfect world, Kevin Feige is saying the shit he's saying to get the SJW fan base invested in the next movie, and then it's not like that at all. And it's like he hyped that up for them. They came and saw it already, and then the people that were here already that love it and help it make $2 billion were like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then they're okay with Captain Marvel. That's the world I want. That's the scenario I want, because I've never once said I hate female superheroes or anything like that, because as a kid, I thought Storm from the X-Men was cool. Like Cyclops, Wolverine, Gambit, and then Storm and Rogue. Didn't like Jubilee, and I thought Jean Grey was lame as shit, because, let's be honest, she would use her powers and go, and fall down, and, Scott, help me, and all this shit. So, as a little kid, you didn't get what she was doing, and secondly, it wasn't that cool. But Rogue and Storm kicked ass, especially when they were up there fighting Sentinels, ripping arms off of robots and shit like that. They were cool characters. Psylocke in the books is interesting. I've never once said I dislike female characters because they're female characters. I dislike the new ones because the writing is shit, and the people that are creating the books don't really get comic books or have respect for the source material. Something like a George Perez being involved with Wonder Woman was great. George Perez, and I think it was Marv Wolfman back in the 80s. And you just had these people that really cared and loved the characters. And those two guys, Perez and Wolfman, if you want to bring them up, look at Teen Titans. That is a very diverse cast of male, female, black, white, alien, robot, all kinds of shit. And it didn't feel overly preachy. It worked. Same with X-Men from the 80s. There were a lot of allegories for racism and sexism and AIDS and all that shit. But it worked because it was written tactfully by people who are good writers. Look at that. If somebody knows what they're doing, they'll do a good job. So, Ricardo Gruois, or Weira, I'm sorry again. Thank you very much for your super chat. Wild Warlock, our good Fred from Down Under. I would rather rewatch The Greasy Strangler, an old naked man covered in grease choking people and his Hispanic son, or rewatch The Last Jedi. Then rewatch The Last Jedi. Is The Greasy Strangler a real movie? Because that sounds awesome. That sounds like an incredible thing. If you could link me to that, I'll watch it. I don't know if there'll ever be another reboot to the Knight Rider series. The 2009 or 10 one was on for like a minute, and it was a blink and you miss it moment. So I don't know if they'll ever take that chance again. I know the Magnum PI one's coming out, and they brought the original car back, so that's cool. But either way, I'm not very excited for, that. Justin Vanderwend, thank you very much. Can you try to explain what the story of The Last Jedi even is? Seems like it's just a bunch of random scenes with no purpose. What do you think? Well, first off, Justin, thank you and good morning. It does seem like a lot of random scenes put together. I mean, I could tell you like what happened in a timeline, but that doesn't really actually make it a compelling story. Like, first off, they're in space and there's a space fight. Then we jump to Luke on a planet, and then we're back in space as they're running away, and then there's another space fight. It is a very disjointed film. Now, sometimes a disjointed film works, like Pulp Fiction. How you have the Vince and Jules story, and then it jumps to this story, and then it goes to Butch, and it tells this and that, and then they all kind of cross and come together. Rian Johnson's not smart enough to do that, and that's not what we got with The Last Jedi. It does feel like it's just a bunch of random scenes put together with no context. That's what they want, though. They want pew pew explosion lightsaber. Oh my god, look at that cast. That's what it is. If anyone tells you that The Empire Strikes Back is bad because it's boring, don't listen to that person talk about Star Wars films. There's depth, there's character building, and there's payoff. I love the movie Hot Fuzz. If you like Hot Fuzz, press F in the comments section. But the reason I enjoy Hot Fuzz is because it's the perfect build. It gets to the end, and the end is balls to the wall crazy. I can't tell you how much I enjoy that ending. But it starts out slow, and it slowly gets to that, and then the payoff is huge. I like big payoffs in movies. If I'm willing to give you my money in 2 hours of my time, I'm willing to sit there for something big. So that's what they really need to focus on. It's not necessarily about spectacle every 10 seconds. Make spectacle mean something. Start it out big and then build. Empire Strikes Back did. Thank you again, Justin. Paul McBride. Who do you prefer, Storm or Jean Grey? Storm all day, every day. I like Storm because she had cooler powers. She had a much cooler voice. Better costume is on the table as well. Storm just looked cool. And she led the X-Men. And I don't ever once remember being, I don't like Storm leading the X-Men because she's a girl. It's like, that's fine. Storm's interesting enough, and she can do it. She has the skill and the ability. Now, if a character like Squirrel Girl is not even an X-Men character, is she? She's even the Avengers. But if they put like a Squirrel Girl type character or somebody in charge of the team because they think it's cute and funny, fuck the people that created it. Thank you, Hammer of Crom. I appreciate that. So let's see. Respect your source material for anything seems to be a thing of the past, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why, though, because it's the source material that you've paid millions of dollars to license, and it's the source material that millions of people are going to come see. I don't understand how that is the problem. Darth Catter, I wouldn't even try to watch it on Netflix, dude. Just ignore it, man. Ignore it. The Greasy Strangler's on Netflix. It should be on Netflix. Just watch the trailer on YouTube. I will. Believe me, I've seen some shit. I've seen some shit. And, I've paid for some shit. B3 Chandler, thank you very much. We need Doomcock to save the MCU from itself. Doomcock would be an incredible supervillain for Captain America to fight. Because the Avengers, maybe you're too much for him, but a Captain America type or Thor or some kind of villain. Like instead of Baron Strucker in Avengers Age of Ultron, you could just have Doomcock, and he could have his own country and run his own experiments. And then instead of a giant force field to keep off the Avengers, just a giant middle finger comes out and swats Captain America and his team of not Hulk and Thor. My thoughts on Sergio Leone and his movies, A Fistful of Dollars. Oh, the Dollars trilogy. I prefer a few dollars more, over The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but I like all three of them equally. Or not equally, excuse me. That goes against everything I said. I prefer for a few dollars more, but I like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and A Fistful of Dollars very much. That's a trilogy that I should own on Blu-ray because I enjoy spaghetti westerns overall. They're a lot of fun. It's Clint Eastwood, dude. I mean, come on. What do you expect? Quality. Paul McBride again, thank you very much. Did I like Fox's casting for Storm of Halle Berry? No. I didn't. No, I didn't really like Halle Berry because she's... Well, here's the thing. She's using the accent. She's not using the accent. She really wasn't that important to the movie because the X-Men movies are basically Wolverine's story. And that's fine. You go with what works. I'm just going by Storm and other media. Storm has a place on my shelf in terms of an action figure. Storm, I don't think I ever used her in Marvel vs. Capcom, if she's even in it, but I don't like flying characters. So I don't like the casting of Storm. Halle Berry, I just don't really care for Halle Berry. Maybe in The Last Boy Scout, I liked Halle Berry because she got smoked in the beginning and you feel sympathy for her because she's so cute and young. But other movies with Halle Berry, especially Die Another Day. She's arguably the worst Bond girl. I mean, we could get ones that barely spoke English and could barely act, but they still somehow are less grating and offensive than the Jinx character from Die Another Day. Yeah, that's true. Too many companies are focused on woke narratives than good narratives. And the weird part is, woke narratives date these movies. People love to bitch, oh, old movies are boring. They're so old. Look at the clothes. Look at this. Look at that. Well, people that aren't as superficial as them are going to watch movies that are produced currently and go, what the fuck were we on? This is the weirdest time in history. Like, these movies reflect a really bad time. They reflect a time where they push all kinds of weird ideologies into movies that everyone used to love. And so people stopped watching movies they love and they moved on to other forms of entertainment. Uh, Haruf Raven, thank you very much for your super chat. Doomcock spanking Captain Marvel SJW will cry. That'd be interesting. He would tell her off. I mean, I'd love to see Doomcock debate Brie Larson. Imagine that. Like, the only thing Brie Larson would have is she stinks. I've never seen Cherry 2000 from 1987, so I apologize. I cannot answer your question. Oh, man, this is my favorite one of the morning so far. SJWs turn every movie into Pluto Nash. Talk about a sick burn. That I love Eddie Murphy. The Adventures of Pluto Nash is unwatchable. That, and I think it was I Spy with Owen Wilson. Eddie Murphy had a really rough last 18 years. Yeah, he had Dreamgirls where he got an Oscar nod and people were like respecting him again. But then we get shit like Meet Dave and 1,000 Words. I don't know. Is it the money that appeals to Eddie Murphy? Because I feel like we could get a crowdfunding going and fund enough money to get him to make Beverly Hills Cop 4 if enough people cared. But there's some reason he picks these terrible movies. And oh no one goes to see the fucking things. Let's see. Gray Mage. I'm sick of every woke franchise attacking their fan base. It needs to stop. Yeah, it really does need to stop. If I started attacking you guys and you were polite to me, that'd make me an asshole and you'd stop listening. That's just not good for anybody. Disney needs to realize that's not good for me too, because they're doing it on a massive scale and they look bad corporately. I mean, let's say John and Jane Doe have 2 kids. They were going to go to Disney. They're both big Star Wars fans, and Disney says a bunch of shit about them, and they take offense. So they take their kids to Universal Studios instead. What are they going to do there? What are they going to do there? They're going to spend money that could have been at Disney. And John and Jane Doe aren't the only people with 2 kids that have skipped Disney. Now, Disney has priced itself out of a lot of people's price range, and I get that. That's really not necessarily the problem, but when they do things to overtly offend them and push them away, like I always say, it's bad business. Bring it on, butt munch. Do I think Darth Vader would have been less intimidating if Luke beat him in A New Hope? Of course I do. Of course I do. I think that Darth Vader beating Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke's mentor. Well, actually, Obi-Wan sacrificed himself. Let's just get that out of the way. Vader was he beat Obi-Wan after Obi-Wan sacrificed himself so they could escape. But if Luke took on Vader in a lightsaber duel and won, it wouldn't be as compelling because Luke and Darth Vader actually never interact outside of Vader chasing him down in the trench. Luke sees Vader kill Obi-Wan, but that's it. I know for me, at least, back in the 90s when I didn't realize there were more Star Wars movies, I was like, oh man, that Darth Vader guy is going to come back one day because he escapes at the end of the movie. Even if I didn't know about Empire and Jedi, I still knew that he didn't blow up. Everyone else died and blew up. He was the last one. So then I saw Empire, and I'm like, oh my God, Luke's going to fight Darth Vader. And then he lost, and you're like, what? So it is able to keep you on for one more movie. Him being beaten right away would have ruined the progression of Luke Skywalker. Pit Spit, thank you very much. Ryan Johnson really has time on his hands to be trolling Lucas and Twitter. Ryan Johnson has too much time on his hands. Maybe Ryan Johnson, if you stopped talking shit on Twitter and focused your candy ass on this trilogy that you're supposedly getting, um, maybe we'll get something outside of a first draft and we'll get something good or better than The Last Jedi. That's really not saying much, though. Like, I feel like we could use that as a catch-all phrase. Better than The Last Jedi. So there you have it. Thank you, Pit Spit. British Metalworks. By the way, British Metalworks, I did try to talk to Ethan, but Ethan wasn't on the High Council last night. So thank you again, and I will send him that message personally on Twitter. So anyway, British Metalworks said this to say: I think dicking trannies did him a bit of a career kill. Beverly Hills Cop 3. Can you imagine? They'd make Axel Foley into a soy swigger. Well, that'd be Beverly Hills Cop 4 because Beverly Hills Cop 3 made Axel Foley shoot Uncle Dave. Well, I'm not going to talk about Beverly Hills Cop 3 on there. No one cares. I don't even care that much. No, maybe it was the tranny thing. I just know that I think the tranny thing was, 93 or 4? He had the Nutty Professor come out, and that was really funny. I went back and watched that about 4 years ago when it was on Netflix. I was like, man, this was great. How did I miss this one? So the Nutty Professor had a lot of great jokes. Eddie Murphy definitely felt on. Then you had Metro, which that was like a Beverly Hills Cop 4, but you didn't have the music or the name. And then what did he do after 98? He did Life, and I didn't really like Life too much. And then he did a couple other things. Bowfinger. I liked Bowfinger quite a bit. And maybe the training thing did do him. And I remember the David Spade joke on SNL. You guys remember the Hollywood Minute on Weekend Update? If you don't, it was David Spade being David Spade when that actually meant something. But there's a skit where they're talking about stuff and a picture of Eddie Murphy pops up and David Spade goes, "Look, kids, a falling star." And he smiles into the camera and the crowd erupts in laughter. I think that hurt Eddie Murphy's ego. I think Eddie Murphy has a lot of ego problems, especially if you guys watch the SNL 40th anniversary. He came out, they built him up. Oh, Eddie Murphy's back on SNL, and he just comes out and says, thank you. And he's like, go to commercial. And he's not being funny. Like, he just, I don't get it. What is that guy's problem? That kind of sucks. Let's see here. British Metalworks again. Thank you. Thanks, mate. The EVS thing. Oh, of course. Like I said, something like that, I write it down and I make sure I get it to the person that it needs to get to. Arse Blaster. Wait, he's still getting his trilogy? Well, Arse Blaster, I think so. Nothing's been confirmed either way. Maybe him trolling people on Twitter is a sign that he's got all this free time. If he ever acts world-class bullshitters, which he won't, he doesn't know who we are, and if he does, we're the one that people don't really go after. I don't know why. Bring it on. I prefer a straight fight to all the sneaking around. But all I would ever say to Ryan Johnson, if we ever got added by him, I'd be like, why don't you go work on your trilogy? Because a first draft clearly isn't enough to get you through a movie. And that'd be it. I think he needs to know that his ass needs to get to work. Ryan Johnson directed some good Breaking Bad episodes. Maybe. But he also directed, he probably had a producer. Was it Vince Gilligan? That guy had a plan. You know, when you're working in a stronger framework, you can create something truly great with Ryan Johnson, I'm guessing. But when he's given carte blanche the way he was with The Last Jedi, and Kathleen Kennedy was just like, hey, do whatever you want, it alienated the people that liked what came before it, and it just was dumb to people that didn't. So I can't deny that he directed good Breaking Bad episodes. It would be disingenuous for me to say the other way, because I liked every episode of Breaking Bad, especially the way it ended. But, yeah, I mean, not everyone's 100% of a failure. Let's see. Who else we got? Let's see. Silver Rayleigh says that Rogue is the best female X-Men. Plus, she's one half of the best Marvel couple. Oh, Gambit and Rogue. Rogue is interesting, especially the fact that she can't touch anyone. I like Rogue a lot. And by the way, British Metalworks says 1997 was the training incident. Well, I'm real late to the party. I was 8 or 9 years old, depending on what part of the year it was. So I want to remember Eddie Murphy is not touching the tranny. I don't care if he really does anything with the tranny. That's not any of my concern. I just want him to make good movies. The movies aren't good. That's what I judge these people by. If I found out The Rock banged a tranny, I'd have a moment of silence for, The Rock's not what I thought. But whatever. What he did before was awesome. And I'm talking about his wrestling career. Do I think Star Wars is now cancer suicide for actors? I don't think Star Wars was ever really this thing for actors to get into. And, well, okay, let's look at it like this. Harrison Ford was the only one whose career really blew up from Star Wars. Mark Hamill was Luke Skywalker, like we said on the High Council last night. Mark Hamill's career, he was Luke Skywalker. He is Luke Skywalker. Yeah, he's the voice of the Joker to a lot of people, but there's a lot of people that don't know that they do both. He does both. So Harrison Ford had the fortunate accident of getting Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and then a whole bunch of movies in between. Carrie Fisher really was just Princess Leia, and maybe if you like The Burbs or The Blues Brothers, you've watched her. And then when we jump to the prequels, it kind of hurt Natalie Portman. Ewan McGregor had a career before Star Wars, but Hayden Christensen, the It Boy in the early 2000s, nothing came with Star Wars from him. What's Tamara Morrison doing these days, guys? Nothing. He was the face of the clones and all this other shit. Not really doing too much. Daniel Logan, nobody. Billy D. Williams, yes, after Star Wars, but yes, before Star Wars. And he also had the Colt 45 ad campaign. He was in like Mahogany and all kinds of other black movies in the 70s. He had something before and after. Like Alec Guinness had stuff before. Star Wars was, for Alec Guinness, was a final, one of the final things he did in terms of notoriety. Billy D. Williams just had, it was Billy D. Williams. I don't know if Star Wars today is cancer poison for an actor's career, but I don't think, like Nick says on our show, they always try to do something real quick afterwards. I don't know what Daisy Ridley's done between the movies, but I know Oscar Isaac was Apocalypse, and John Boyega was in Pacific Rim, two movies that one I didn't see because I don't like Pacific Rim 2, and X-Men, he wasn't that good, but at least they're doing other stuff. I think Oscar Isaac was an Ex Machina, and he'll be okay. I don't think Star Wars is going to elevate anybody anymore. I don't think Star Wars has that ability. Star Wars is too big. There's a reason they cast unknowns, because they want characters, not actors, coming in to play the role, if you know what I'm saying. Wild Warlock, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Fantastic, Ghostbusters 2016, The Last Jedi. These movies will never look at as good. Bad movies because they are made without love. Good bad movies. Yeah, they are made without love. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, let's see. Fuck that movie. I don't like that at all. Yeah, the costume's cool. I'll give it that. But the movie's lame itself. Andrew Garfield is a terrible Spider-Man. Well, he's a good Spider-Man, a terrible Peter Parker. I guess people interpret Spider-Man differently because, it's a character you read on a page. But I just don't like the voice he does. Everything he does about the character. I'm so thankful. Like, when he got fired, I was really happy. I don't really take pleasure in people losing jobs, but man, fuck him. Fantastic was stupid. I don't even care about the Michael B. Jordan part as much as I care about the piss poor movie. Ghostbusters 2016, it was so boring and so unfunny. And the hype around it, the negative hype around it, was deserved, because it wasn't because it was about women. It's because you took something that was good and didn't need to be remade or bastardized or stretched to fit a 2016 narrative, and you fucked it up. So that was that. And then The Last Jedi is just garbage. We've all seen The Last Jedi. So, yeah. And by the way, yes, Eddie Murphy Gay Mr. T is comedic gold. Come here, boy. I love that fucking thing so much. Reed Palancia, hello to you. Was a good High Council video. Thank you very much, Reed Palancia. I had a great time doing it. Love Doomcock. Jeremy's a great guy. You, Charlie Curmudgeon, want to know who my favorite Bond girl is? Yours will be Pam Bouvier from License to Kill. I think she's married to someone famous. I think she was married to Richard Gere, the actress, Carrie Lowell. My favorites, Domino and Fiona Volpe from Thunderball. We're just going straight on looks. I find those women are the best. Like, Thunderball has the best looking women, hands down. And James Bond's pretty much a pimp in that movie. I also like Xenia Onatopp quite a bit. Famke Janssen's great looking. And Eva Green, because of boobs. Yeah, those are my favorite Bond girls. Let me know in the comments section what some of your favorite Bond girls are. Let's see. We had all kinds of stuff popping up. Okay, let's see. Didocracy, hashtag free Tommy. Carrie Fisher was also a successful author. She was a successful author, and she did a lot of rewrites on famous movies and stuff, too. And was it Postcards from the Edge, that Meryl Streep movie? I get that Carrie Fisher had a successful career. Mark Hamill did a lot of stuff, too, but when people see a picture of their face, they're going to go, oh, it's Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia. Peter Cushing had the benefit of being Van Helsing and in a bunch of stuff from Hammer before that. Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. I mean, he's the biggest movie star still alive today. The dude was, like, everyone likes to say Schwarzenegger and Stallone are the biggest action stars of the 80s, and they were, but Harrison Ford was on the same level. Indiana Jones was bigger than all those movies in terms of box office, in terms of cultural appeal, impact. Indiana Jones, like, if action must have a name, then it must be Indiana Jones. That's like the old catchphrase from the movies. So I don't disagree that Carrie Fisher was a successful author and did script rewrites and did certain things. I'm not saying that at all. But what she's known for is Princess Leia. That's really it. Peter Brady, the guy that played him, Christopher Knight, he is only known as Peter Brady, but he's a successful millionaire because he did other things that weren't acting. But he's known in the public eye as Peter Brady forever. That's all he ever really did. I did not listen to the Jedi Academy trilogy, so I can't tell you if I liked it or not, but, I'm not against it. Make broke people great again. I can agree with that. Well, they gotta work hard. Because, anybody can do it, guys. Anybody can do it. I'm aware that Alec Guinness did not like his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And yes, Daisy Ridley was in Oriental Express. I forgot about that. I wanted to see that, too. It looked cool. Again, just got busy and sidetracked with stuff. That's just life. You guys know that. Casting unknown is stupid. The actress for Rey can't act. While I agree that she can't act, Christopher Reeve was considered an unknown, and look at what he did with Superman. I mean, when I watched that movie, especially the part when he flies off at the end and waves and looks at the camera, I'm like, that's Superman. Not even Christopher. He transcended the role, and he was essentially an unknown. So I will always fall back on that example. I think Sean Connery was pretty much an unknown when he was James Bond, and he had that character down in the first movie that he just did it. So unknowns sometimes work. I'd say a good portion of big iconic roles cast by unknown actors or cast with unknown actors do work. I don't consider Rey an iconic character. She's just a cog in the machine of Star Wars. She's not one of the Holy Three. You can even do Holy Four if you want to throw like Darth Vader in there, because Darth Vader is one of the most compelling characters in the saga. Hi, Cecil. Good morning to you, my friend. Damien, this is an excellent point. I give Stallone more credit since he tended to write and or direct his most famous roles. I actually have nothing but respect for Sylvester Stallone. I mean, I looked into the story about how Rocky got made, and then there's a lot of depth into his bigger roles. I'm not saying everything he does is perfect. I mean, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I think he directed, was it Rhinestone or something like that? Judge Dredd. There are a bunch of bad Stallone movies, but there are some really good, interesting ones. And I think Stallone's a lot smarter than people give him credit for. Rocky's based off the Chuck Wepner story when he fought Muhammad Ali, and Stallone saw it, figured out how to make the movie, and I'm pretty sure he pitched it to where he could be in the film. And look what it did for him. Rocky's a fantastic series. Yeah, part 5 is shit. And 4 is a little dated in terms of if I can change and you can change, we can all change. Like that doesn't really hold up well because, Soviet Union's really not a thing. But I do give Stallone that credit. Now, he doesn't have the cool factor that Schwarzenegger had. I mean, Schwarzenegger, with his shitty one-liners and his just looking into the camera, stick around, let off some steam, Bennett, like that epitomizes that type of action genre. But Stallone's characters have a lot more depth. And I like Rambo, just Rambo, which would be part 4. I think that's quite interesting. Violent as hell and a lot of fun. I'm glad people agree that Eva Green is a hottie. I think so. Have I ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? No. I have not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm aware of the show, and I'm aware of the cartoon or the movie, but I've never seen it. Was there anything of The Last Jedi I liked? The part where Luke Skywalker died was visually appealing, and the Force theme played, and he just faded off. Kind of mirrored him looking off into the sunset, like in A New Hope. I liked that. I thought that worked. I can't even deny that. I said that the moment I saw the movie. Just thinking about it makes me realize there's a little bit of good in him. So, yep, Harrison Ford is the biggest star in the history of cinema. No doubt about that. Big super chat from Brendan Horn. Thank you very much. See anything for the Roman movie Skyscraper? It looks like someone's trying to make Die Hard even harder. Die even harder. I hadn't heard of it until I saw a trailer while watching Iron Man 3 on FX last night. Well, Brendan, we call it Die Hard with a peg leg here on the channel. It looks dumb. I can't tell you guys how much I like The Rock as a wrestler. He seems like a really nice guy. I read a book report on The Rock Says in the 6th grade, got an A+. I'm big fan of The Rock. If you caught my stream the other night, I showed some of my Rock figures. I honestly have 50 of them. Think the dude's awesome. In terms of movies, I don't know why he picks what he picks. He doesn't really have a character that has like transcended film. He had the Scorpion King. The Scorpion King could have been more, but it wasn't. It went to Batista and other characters, or other actors. Luke Hobbs is okay in the Fast and Furious movies, but The Rock has been smart, and I think another thing too is The Rock doesn't delve too much into politics. He knows not to piss off an audience, how to respect people, and he basically has made himself a fan favorite to everybody from every walk of life. Now, in terms of Skyscraper, it looks like derivative trash. Will I watch it? No, I haven't seen Rampage. I did see Jumanji because I liked the first Jumanji. I'm a big Robin Williams fan. The first one was a movie that I grew up with and I watched all the time. I didn't do a lot of Disney movies as a kid, like after a certain age. When I was really little, Disney movies, because they're animation, you watch it, ooh, pretty colors. But when I got a little older and would watch live action stuff, like post Power Rangers age, Jumanji was one of the ones I would stick with a lot because it was fun. It had some scary moments. Back then, CGI, it looked bad, but there's something about it that I liked. I could tell it looked different, but I didn't know how to put my finger on it. So I went and saw Jumanji and was impressed. Hell, I even liked the Journey 2, the Center of the Earth movie or whatever, the Forbidden Island with The Rock. Kind of a fun movie. Definitely something that, if I had a kid, I would have taken him to and enjoyed it. But Skyscraper, Die Hard's my third favorite movie of all time. And I see the trailer quite a bit. I was watching a video before the show went live this morning, and I saw a commercial for it, and I went, I'll pass. It's The Rock always is trying to play like a version of something that somebody else did. And the reason it works for Bruce Willis, he's like the everyman, He's got marital issues. He's not in the perfect shape. He doesn't have a pair of shoes on, so he's vulnerable. The thing with the Rock movies are he's always the best. I mean, look at the way he looks. That's cool. That's hard work and effort. The Rock, I'm not saying The Rock needs to gain weight for a role because, good for him. He's definitely worked hard. But he looks like he has the perfect life, the perfect physique. Yeah, he's got a fake leg, but he's got the new job and he's making tons of money. It worked for McClane because he was a reluctant hero. He did what he had to do. He was forced into that situation. Rock's fake-legged character is going to be forced into that situation too. But I guarantee you, just because, he was in the war, he lost his leg, there's some character development. But I'll put money down that even if we just take what's presented in the first Die Hard, we're going to have a much more compelling and rich character in John McClane than we have with Rock's character in Skyscraper. So, Brendan, I won't be seeing that movie whatsoever. If it's great and people tell me about it, thumbs up. Let's do this. Good for you guys. Maybe it's a drunk commentary at the best. And I can't watch any superhero movie on TV because the commercial breaks. But thank you, Brendan. Midnight Cherry TV. We had classics in episode 1 through 6. Now we get Dem as Holdo. We get Dern as Holdo. Laura Dern, I used to know her as the lady from Jurassic Park, and now I know her as the most offensive Star Wars character. That's not a robot. Well, she acts like a robot. It's funny that Bad Robot has produced some of these things, and all the robot characters are bad. Terrible pun intended. But yeah, the old ones were classics, and now we have shit. So thank you, Midnight Cherry TV. Let's see. Jeremy Menning, thank you very much. Darth Vader prowls was Superman Christopher Reeve's personal trainer. Imagine walking into your gym and seeing IG Vader spotting Clark Kent with the bench press. I've heard about that. I think it was it Roger Moore or somebody like that who remembers going to lunch with Christopher Reeve in the Superman costume. Like, imagine going to lunch and there's James Bond and Superman in costume having lunch together. But have you guys, Jeremy, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but David Prowse is kind of bitter towards Christopher Reeve. From what I've heard, that he helped him out, he trained him and all that stuff. But then either Christopher Reeve was too busy or just didn't give him the time of day, and David Prowse took offense to that. So I don't know if you guys have heard that story. I have. It's quite interesting. Maybe David Prowse has a lot of personal issues, and that's why he's kind of pushed out of the Star Wars light. But Disney should open their arms back up to him, and maybe that'll help some of the fans forget about some garbage. But yeah, Darth Vader trained Superman. That'd be a cool T-shirt. Couldn't license it, but I would wear a shirt that just says Darth Vader trained Superman. Reed Palancha, thank you very much. Sometimes actors own the characters they portray. There's just something that clicks with them, and they can really give it life. It makes it difficult for anyone else slipping into the role for remakes. Reed, you're 100% right. Let's just look at Han Solo again. This is a Star Wars-centric channel. Does anyone think Alden Ehrenreich was a great Han Solo? He wasn't even Han Solo. He's Han Solo in name only, or Casino for short. It didn't work. Now, I will say that it works for James Bond because we've had so many, it's been so long, we've had so many actors play him, so it's kind of diluted it. But when you have a character be played or identified with an actor forever, like Han Solo, it's just too jarring. I think, too, when you have an actor, we'll just keep using Indiana Jones. We'll use Harrison Ford as an example, like Indiana Jones and Han Solo. You saw that face all the time. Like when you buy a James Bond piece of merchandise, like is this Connery, is this Moore, is this Lazenby or Pierce Brosnan? You don't know who's who. There's just one Indiana Jones. There's just one Han Solo. And I mean, I wasn't even alive for the original trilogy, and only one Indiana Jones movie came out in my life. Well, two. I forgot Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's a thing. But still, you would always see that face identified with the character. And maybe it's cognitive dissonance. Maybe it's just a number of things. But when you try to put someone else in that role, it doesn't work. And I don't think they cast someone that looks and acts close enough to the role. I know people said about Chris Pratt played Han Solo or Indiana Jones. And that might work. He definitely has the charisma of an Indiana Jones type of guy. I don't want to see a new Indiana Jones actor, but if it's gun to my head, I have to. I want somebody like that I believe can play the role and do the thing. But yeah, remakes just don't do it. There are certain types of things where you can have iconic characters played by numerous people and it doesn't matter. Hate to say it, but anybody can play Chewbacca. Anybody can play Darth Vader. Anybody can play Michael Myers or Jason. And I know the horror fans are like, man, Kane Hodder's the best Jason. Kane Hodder may be the best Jason, but people before him were fine Jasons too. It's really just Jason. And I think a Kane Hodder, the cult around the character and the fans of horror have really kind of elevated him. But from a movie standpoint, with the exception of a few body language cues, there's not much of a difference. But thank you, Reed Palancha. Wild Warlock. The Last Jedi DVD and Blu-rays should be sold with free condoms and lube, just to let the customers know they're about to get fucked. I like that. I like that message a lot. But are they going to be big or small condoms? Because everyone's an angry white man. So are they going to try to attack everyone's manhood that way too? Just one more way to stick it to the fans. The Super Smash Brothers candidate says, watch Rampage. It was fun. Even Matt Frank loved it. Well, I don't know who Matt Frank is. If Dion and I are ever drunk together in a room that Rampage is playing on, yeah, that's kind of like my bar. If I'm drunk, I'll watch it type of thing. Now, there are some things I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch torture porn. I'm not going to watch The Notebook or any of the 50 Shades movies. But Rampage is probably something I'll eventually catch. Maybe on a Plex server, something like that. I'm not going to go out of my way to see these Rock movies. I feel bad, but I don't know. That's why I always preface it with how much I'm a big fan. I just don't shit on The Rock to shit on The Rock. I mean, I've traveled thousands of miles to watch him wrestle from Ohio to Florida and back in a span of a couple days because I had to be there when he fought John Cena, and it was great. And if you guys ever, like I said, if you ever want to see what I look like on a wrestling show, watch The Rock fight John Cena at WrestleMania 28. And it pans out to the crowd, and the first person they show is me. So that was pretty fucking cool. Squire Simpson, my favorite actor is Harrison Ford, hands down. I love Indiana Jones and Han Solo. I think those are awesome characters. But I really like the Patriot games and Clear and Present Danger, all kinds of stuff like that. There, as a kid, I just loved all the Harrison Ford movies. My grandma and I would watch them together too. Maybe there's that connection, but my grandma and I have never watched an Indiana Jones or a Star Wars movie, and that's how I discovered Harrison Ford. But no, I take that back. The first Harrison Ford movie I ever saw was The Fugitive. I remember seeing that young. We borrowed it from a friend. That's back when you borrowed VHS tapes because they were pricey still, kind of. But yeah, but The Fugitive, Air Force One, Clear and Present Danger. I even like 6 Days and 7 Nights. I mean, Harrison Ford is my hands down favorite actor. And, I don't like him as a person. He seems like a dick. Maybe he's just trying to be funny and it just doesn't come off as right. But I do like when an actor's a little more genuine. Zayer, thank you very much. What character would you want to be in a Star Wars movie? Me personally, I guess I might like to be, before Solo came out, like Lando or somebody. I mean, I'm not gonna act until like I'm this big fighter. Like I'm not trained in weaponry. I really don't want to be in battle. I would want to be like the administrator of Cloud City and bang beautiful space women or swimming, have cool ships, and do whatever I want. That's probably what I'd want to do in Star Wars. And I'd have a Lobot assistant who would not be a pleasure bot, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I would like to be Lando pre-Solo. I wouldn't mind being, because I mean, Han Solo is cool, but do you really want to live your life on a run outside and sleep in your car? Like, that's pretty much what Han Solo and Chewbacca are. They're those dudes. They're like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. He looks cool on the outside, but inside he's got a lot of problems. So that's my answer to you, Zayer. Not Darth Vader, because I don't want to be a robot, and I don't want to lose my hand like Luke. So there you go. And by B, I mean play in a movie, Stormtrooper, Hero, Rebel, etc. Well, I'll go with Lando. Now, if it was play in a movie, of course I'd want to be Han Solo or anybody like that, or Luke, because Lando doesn't really get in the best gunfights. He just goes, go, go. Luke gets to fight with lightsabers and fly ships and do all that cool stuff. So if it's play the character, I'm going to go with Han Solo or Luke Skywalker, because you get to kiss the princess and run around and shoot shit on the Death Star. It looks like a lot of fun. But if it's like actually be that and live in the world, it's Lando. David Prowse was on Clockwork Orange. It's Julian. Thank you, Rugis. I haven't seen that movie in quite a while. Let's see. We had a couple super chats I want to get to because I don't want to those people. Good morning, Logan Michael. You just joined. Well, thank you for just joining. We got an hour and 15 minutes left of the show, so welcome. You didn't miss too much. The Major Spike 9000. So what was the premise of Star Wars 7 and 8 again? It feels like nothing. Fucking nothing happens. Oh yeah, events happen, but nothing of substance. Like we always say on the show, why do things happen? 'Cause plot. Things just happen to happen. It's just a series of contrived events. Like in other movies, things happen for a reason. Why does Michael Myers follow Laurie Strode? Because she shows up at his house, and he's just obsessed with her. Why does Rey become a Jedi? Because plot. Why does Luke become a Jedi? Because his father was murdered and killed by an evil Jedi, Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan wanted to train him to help him, learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi. There's a reason. Because plot and nothing fucking happens are one and the same in many ways, and they're just a series of events to sell you stuff, and it's just flashing lights and pomp and circumstance, except, it's kind of garbage. So the premise of 7 and 8, the Major Spike 9000, was to make money and cash in on nostalgia. The execution was done poorly, so it cashed in on nostalgia once, it pissed on it a second time, and it divided a fan base and grew a lot of hatred among people. So that was the premise. The premise was nothing, and the outcome was that. Kenneth LaRock, thank you and good morning. I actually liked K-19, The Widowmaker. I have not seen that one. I've also not seen Firewall or Hollywood Homicide. So those are some Harrison Ford movies. I haven't seen that Jackie Robinson one as well either. So I haven't seen every Harrison Ford movie, but I still consider my favorite actor based on, really, it's just like Indiana Jones and Han Solo. Come on, how could you not like those characters? They're so cool. Logan Michael, what platform are you streaming on tonight for the Patreon viewers? It's going to be here on YouTube, just like this. The Patreon Hangouts are this. It's going to be a group of people. So it's like the High Council was last night, except instead of me talking about what I want, it's up to you guys. So it's a thank you. It's a platform to have your voices heard and ask us questions about anything you want. We're just going to keep it about entertainment. That's the only parameter. We talk about entertainment, and it can be any form of entertainment you want. And we're going to have a conversation, and it's going to go on for quite a while. So probably 3 hours or so. So it'll be a lot of fun. So there you go, Logan, Michael. We're streaming here. And if you're a patron, which you are, all you got to do is follow the link that I will share on Patreon. Good friend Jimmy B says, instead of deleting episode 7 and 8 from the galaxy, what if Disney changed their titles to Star Wars stories so they're decoupled from episodes 1 through 6? Not a bad idea. Look at how they did that with Ghostbusters. It was originally Ghostbusters, then it was called Ghostbusters 2016, and now it's referred to as Ghostbusters Answer the Call, or Don't Answer the Call, depending on if you're me. So I think that could help. Remember, too, folks, and I apologize for all the ums, kind of congested. Remember, folks, Indiana Jones has a different title now. It used to be Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now it's Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, while the film stays the same. So there is precedent for this. They could definitely go back and change the title to call, Star Wars The Force Awakens a Star Wars story or something like that. And for future generations, help not be confused if they want to do that. So, Jimmy, that's a good idea. Personally, I'd like to see that implemented. Anthony Mata, good morning. Love the show. Ursula Andress from Dr. No, gorgeous woman. And have you seen the cartoon James Bond Jr.? I love this. Anthony, not only have I seen the cartoon James Bond Jr., I own every single toy. I have both video games, one for Super Nintendo, one for the original Nintendo. I was James Bond Jr. for Halloween in 1992. I know the theme song by heart, and I still watch the cartoon on YouTube. James Bond Jr. is a cartoon that I love. Is it great by today's standards? I don't know. The animation's better than the shit you get from Thundercats and everything on Cartoon Network. But as a kid in the 90s, I thought it was awesome. My mom and I would watch it. It's really what got me into 007 because it was at the toy store. It was everywhere. And it was on TV, Fox 19. It was on here early in the morning. My mom used to get up and tape it for me. And Anthony, if you go back and check out my live stream, the one that has the icon of Buzz Lightyear holding Ray's head in his bicep, I actually brought down my James Bond Jr. figure from my collection. So James Bond Jr. kicks ass. And yeah, Ursula Andress is a gorgeous woman. Eunice Gayson from Dr. No recently passed away, so rest in peace, Eunice Gayson. The early Bond girls are all really good-looking women. I don't think there's too many bad-looking Bond girls. I mean, there's a reason why they're cast because of their looks, and that's fine. That's what they are in terms of the story. But Ursula Andress is an all-time beauty, and she's aged incredibly well. So, Anthony, you have good taste. Let's see. Logan Michael, again, thank you very much. You had to say, what platform do we use to talk to you on the stream tonight? Here, basically, Logan Michael, all you do is I send you a link, you click it, and this Google Hangouts is going to pop up in front of you. And if you have a mic, you just start talking, and I'll be able to hear you, and everyone else will be able to hear you talk. It's very, very easy. You just literally click the link and show up. You'll instantly show up, and I'll talk to you guys before we go live. So don't worry. As soon as you click the link, you're not going to be live on the internet for the world to see you. It's going to be like a green room where we hang out and we discuss a few things off air and we get a feel for each other. And don't worry, man. Just like I said, go to Patreon, click the link, it'll be good. Let's see. Off topic, best casting ever. Javier Bardem Morgan is the voice of Bane. Random meat boy for the physical acting. I do love his voice. And yes, the Super Smash Brothers candidates, James Bond Jr. was underrated. People did die. It was fun. At that point in my life, the two cartoons I loved were James Bond Jr. and Inspector Gadget. I had both toy lines at the same time. I guess it would be concurrently would be the phrase I'm trying to use. And I played the games and did everything at the same time. I just loved those two characters. But James Bond Jr. was cool, man. I had a great time with it. Let's see. In the novel Dr. No, Ursula Andress' character had a seriously broken nose, disfigured, but hot bod. It's been a while since I've read Dr. No. It's been a while since I've read any James Bond book. I own most of them. I mean, I own all the Fleming ones. most of the John Gardner ones. The last one I have is Trigger Mortis. So if you're a Bond novel reader, you know where that falls in the lineage or the chronology of James Bond. But I did pick up the Casino Royale graphic novel adaptation. That's pretty cool. Klaus Storick, good morning. What movies could you quote all day? Ooh, I love questions like this. Like, I like to talk about Star Wars and never, ever feel bad about asking me Star Wars questions. We can talk Star Wars all day. Star Wars, to answer your question, I could quote Star Wars all day long. But there are other movies that I like to quote, such as Beverly Hills Cop, Fletch, National Lampoon's Vacation, Step Brothers, Airheads, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, 21 Jump Street, Beetlejuice, Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. There's a lot that I like to quote, but I just listed you off ones that I quote quite frequently. One thing I always do on this show, or at least attempt to do, is make it seem like you know what it's like to hang out with me in person. I talk about movies all the time. Dion and I will go back and forth about shit. We'll say random obscure quotes to each other, and then we'll look at each other and wait for us to pick up on it. Sometimes it's such a smooth transition, like we'll be drinking a beer, he'll say some movie quote, I'll put the beer down, I'll finish the quote. Other times we look at each other, confusingly because one of us probably fucked up the line. But those are a few that I like to quote just off the top of my head. A lot of classic 80s comedies are high on my list of things to quote. Die Hard as well. Like, no fucking shit, lady, does it sound like I'm ordering a pizza, is something I say quite frequently, and people are like, huh? And they just don't get me. But you guys get me. That's cool. But thank you, Klaus Dork, for your question. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Somebody likes Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love that fucking theme song. That is an awesome, awesome song and a good movie. It's fun. I like when the guy gets his head punched off by the clown. Logan Michael, thank you again. Worst Kenner Star Wars figure? Worst Kenner Star Wars figure, so vintage. Ghost of Anakin Skywalker's pretty lame. Doesn't have much articulate. Well, they don't all of them have very limited articulation, but can't hold anything. Who else is really lame? Prune Face is pretty lame. Looks cool, but I don't really like a lot of the Return of the Jedi figures. The creatures had better sculpting, but like Endor Han from the Return of the Jedi line doesn't look like Han Solo. I think somebody on a website called him Chucky Solo. So there's just a lot of bad ones from later in the line. I respect what the vintage line was, and I think a lot of people should look into it. But overall, I think they got lazy and they should have updated the figures, sculpting and stuff, 82, 83, to help it remain relevant against the line that it was G.I. Joe. A lot of people like to quote Caddyshack, so do I. Yes, Rowdy Ruffian, I did see The Golden Child. I've seen it quite a few times. It's an Eddie Murphy movie I like. It's not like Dion loves it. That's one of his favorites. But for me, it's top 10 Eddie Murphy, but we're getting towards the bottom of that top 10, and that with like 48 hours. So, and yes, I'd love to debate John Campea. Yes, Rugis, all tiers of patrons can participate on tonight's podcast. It's not hidden behind a paywall like, oh, you got to be a $10 patron. I'm not all about that. I appreciate everyone that is on our Patreon page to help us grow. Like, if you're at any level on Patreon, you get access to all the digital content. There's just extra shit you get when you go higher. So you definitely make it worth your time. It's not like if you were $1 or $25, it's just a thank you and exclusive access. It's literally a shirt and a poster and this and that and the other thing. There's just so many other things. So Rugis, if you're a buck, thank you anyway, and please come on tonight. I greatly appreciate it. King Eric the 15th. What do you have to say, my friend? Hey, Jeff, smear yourself in mud. I've heard stab Viet Cong that you like. Fire machine gun with one hand. Rambo movies. Helicopter explodes. I do. I like the fourth one quite a bit because it's just an all-out gore fest. Because I like the gore fests in movies, but I don't like some of the really shitty horror films that have the goriness. So that was a cool change of pace. I think the first one is a very important film in terms of post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff like that. And the original ending was a lot better too. But yeah, Rambo's cool in my book. Not so much a fan of First Blood 2 and Rambo 3. They're fine movies, but the first and the fourth one I think are the stronger of the two. Much like I think the first two Rockies are stronger than the third and fourth Rocky in terms of, I guess it's the serious tone I like. Things Dion won't sleep with. Ooh, that's a game I have to play on tomorrow night's show. Don't worry, we'll get to it. Yes, Paul McBride, I do think that Skyscraper is a 2018 Die Hard remake. I didn't miss your comment about the anti-tracker for the High Council's Super Smash Brothers candidates. I discussed that. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out about who that is. Like I said, I'm all about giving you guys whoever you want on the High Council. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see if Razor Fist is available next time the High Council's on my channel. We'll find out, guys. All you got to do is email us the requests. High Council requests is the attention line at worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com, and I'll get into contacting people. Like that, what is that, E:'R guy or whatever? I've tried to reach out to them, no response. So I can't get everybody, but I will contact everybody to the best of my abilities. Let's see. Seeing the Unseen, thank you very much. Ryan Johnson needs a brain transplant, but is waiting to find a complete rabbit or a compatible rabbit. Maybe he'll be the man with two brains like that Steve Martin movie. And none of them work or are creative. That's the plot twist. Eddie Max of Andor. Jay and Silent Bob, do you ever feel like you're in Star Wars? Poop shoot. I used to have so much fun with Kevin Smith. That's why the Kevin Smith shill video is the way it is. Because I throw out a little bit of respect for Kevin Smith. Because I have it. The guy, did create some cool stuff. And he really was ahead of his time in terms of creating a universe. The Viewers universe was a thing. So there's a level of respect there, but the mighty have fallen. And now he's in talks with Disney to work on something. There's an article I saw before I fell asleep last night. So Kevin Smith being involved with either like that Bed Knobs and Broomsticks movie or a Marvel or Star Wars movie, I don't know. If it would have been Kevin Smith of 20 years ago, God, sign that guy up for a superhero movie. Kevin Smith of today, sign that guy up for like nothing. Just stay at home, Kevin. Get high, my friend. Let's see. Logan Michael, what time will we be talking to you before the stream starts in terms of tonight's thing? I'll send out the link probably about 8:30, 8:45-ish, and I'll give time for everyone to fall in, and then we'll go live. I'll click that start button at 9 p.m. tonight. So just make yourselves available at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you said you're in Texas, so what is that? Be 3 hours behind, so 5:30. But yeah, that's when we'll do it. SC Reviews. That could happen. Geeks and Gamers and SC Reviews are close. They're friends. So we'll just talk to Jeremy about getting in contact with him. Kevin Smith peaked with Clerks. Huh. I mean, that could be argued as his best film. It's him at his most creative. Mallrats, I don't like that much anymore. I used to think it was the best one, but you know how time is. It makes you appreciate other things. And I realized how dumb Mallrats truly is, no matter how verbose the dialogue is. Chasing Amy, it's okay. I think Kevin Smith was out of his element with that one. But I do like Dogma quite a bit. I think that's an interesting look at religion. I think it's just an interesting, fun film. I watched that quite a bit as a kid. And I went to Catholic school, too, so I guess it was like a double hitter. It was fun. They cussed, and they talked about religion in an interesting way to me. I'm trying to think who else or what other movies of his. I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That was awesome. I remember seeing that trailer as a kid, and then my mom bought it for me on DVD. She's like, hey, you can have it, just don't cuss at school, and I never did. So Kevin Smith movies used to be great. I'm not upset that Comic Book Men got canceled. I've been to the Secret Stash, the one that's featured on the show, and Walt and Mike were working, and I went in with Joel and Dan, who used to be on the podcast, and I didn't fanboy out. I didn't really say much. I said, hey guys, how's it going? They didn't say a word, and I went back and I looked through the store and saw the Bloody Christ and all that good stuff. And so I went to buy a Clerks Berserker t-shirt and a bumper sticker, and Dan bought a shirt, and Joel bought some shirts. And, we didn't bother anybody, and we're just like, we tried to make conversation, and they just couldn't be bothered. Like any other store I've been to where I'm spending money, they're at least somewhat decent. I wasn't expecting autographs or pictures or anything, or even a show, but some decency is all I expect, like I do out of every business I go to. But no, it was too much for them, so I just never watched the show again. because I figure I want to see the secret stash and I like all the Kevin Smith stuff, but I'm done. So I'm not upset that the show got canceled. The Kentucky Fried Movie. I've seen Kentucky Fried Movie. Was it Catholic Schoolgirls or whatever? That model, I know her quite well. So I've seen it. Plus, that's John Landis. John Landis is the man. I'm a big John Landis dude. I've not seen Assassin's Creed. I'm probably never going to watch Assassin's Creed. Just doesn't really interest me. I have the second game and whatever the one red flag or black flag. So I have number 1 or 2, number 4. Yeah, that I didn't watch the movie, so sorry guys. Probably won't be able to talk about that ever. Somebody tricked their pastor into watching Dogma. That moved away real quick. Oh shit. Okay, that's pretty funny. Jaron Ricewig, does Adam Driver wear a wig in the Star Wars films? No, I think that's his real hair. He doesn't wear a fake nose either. The thing is, there's all this like, hey, you know, hate the character, not the actor. That's fine. I don't hate Adam Driver. I really want to see Logan Lucky. It looks awesome. Just, you know, haven't made the time. I'm sure I would like him outside of Star Wars. I'm trying to think of other actors that seem cool in real life. I hate to say it, but I feel like if I knew Jai Courtney personally, I'd probably get along with him quite well. Terrible actor. It's terrible in Suicide Squad, terrible in Terminator, but I feel like Dion, Jai Courtney, and I would just get drunk and have a lot of fun. So maybe Adam Driver could be our 4th. And we could be like World Class Bullshitters, the drunk edition, where we hang out with 2 celebrities and become friends and then never talk again after the show. Let's see. Wild Warlock, thank you again. If you could eat any animal, well, if you could eat any animal, what would you try to eat? Or what would you try eating? I would love to try panda steaks and tell the WWF it's wrestling, not to say the Panda Foundation. If I could try any animal, a great white shark steak, because I fucking hate sharks. So what's the best way to get back at a great white shark? You eat it. That's my answer for you for sure. Paul McBride, thank you very much. Would you like to see a Vader movie where he hunts Jedi that survived Order 66? I would. I would have liked that kind of stuff before in Episode 7. I feel like you could have really, really built a lot of excitement had you started with Rogue One, then do some Jedi Order stuff, or not Jedi Order stuff, but Order 66 stuff with Vader. People would have been like, oh my god, Darth Vader's back. You could have done a Darth Vader trilogy, but not called Darth Vader trilogy. It could have just been 3 stories about Darth Vader in the background doing stuff, and then that final one is like the Darth Vader movie type of deal, and that could have been the Order 66 film. More Darth Vader is not bad. I know people say, oh, but it ruins the mystique. I think George Lucas ruined the mystique of Darth Vader when he went, no, at the end of Episode 3. So Rogue One helped actually build a little bit of confidence in Darth Vader. Surprise, gasp, they did something good with Disney Star Wars. No David Wheeler. John Landis did not direct Beverly Hills Cop 1. He directed Beverly Hills Cop 3. Beverly Hills Cop 1 was directed by Martin Brest. Number 2 was directed by Tony Scott, who's no longer with us. And number 3 was sadly directed by John Landis. And I consider John Landis the strongest of the 3 directors. But, I mean, come on. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is terrible. Christopher Roberts, I am doing t-shirts. We have our Etsy store at Incarnate Studios, but I'm going to put up way more. If you guys have noticed, I've been doing... Well, you haven't noticed. I've been doing a lot of back-end stuff. So, like I said earlier in the stream, by the time the High Council is on World Class Bullshitters again in 3 weeks, World Class Bullshitters will be live, or worldclassbullshitters.com will be live with all kinds of merchandise. You can get your Good Morning Pop Culture mugs and have a cup of coffee. Tweet me out your image. I'll give you a shout-out on the show. It'll be a lot of fun. The Pui, it really sounds like your mom did a great job. Thank you, the Pui. I appreciate that. Had a couple nice comments about my mom on the show. She's a good lady who works hard. And, you know, she deserves a lot of good stuff in life. I want to make sure it happens. You thought Jennifer Connelly was a good choice for Wonder Woman. Jennifer Connelly was a good choice for many things. I love Jennifer Connelly. And yeah, I love Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. There we go. Brad Norris, thank you very much. Pierce Brosnan was a much better James Bond than Daniel Craig because he actually loved being James Bond. And I love this chat. somebody could give $1 million, and this comment right here will be my favorite thing that I read on air, besides the comment on my mom, because my mom's cool. But no, I love Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. Some of his movies have bad moments, but he's not the problem. There are parts in the Roger Moore Bond flicks where Roger Moore is just dumb. But Brosnan wanted to be Bond. Goldeneye was excellent. Tomorrow Never Dies has moments of brilliance. The World Is Not Enough is a pretty solid story. Denise Richards drags it down quite a bit. If you get her ass out of the movie and you focus more on the Bond-Electra dynamic and didn't have a second Bond girl, it'd be a much tighter film. Die Another Day is a bad movie, but then again, it starts out strong. I prefer the first 50% of Die Another Day over the entire Quantum of Solace or the beginning of Casino Royale. Yeah, I said it. Casino Royale is a fine Bond film. I love the title sequence. It's got the best title sequence and a great theme song. 10 out of 10 on that. Don't like the blunt instrument James Bond. Do not like the mother-son relationship between M and James Bond at all. I liked the respect that Pierce Brosnan's James Bond had to earn from Judi Dench M. She's like, you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, relic of the Cold War. Don't think I don't have compunction to send a man out to die. But then she's like, come back alive. So there's the respect restored. And then in the next two movies, what's he doing? His job. She trusts him. And then in Die Another, World's Not Enough, he actually saves her and rescues her, stuff like that. So I liked that Bond. I liked the cool, efficient, stylized Bond. I don't need the humanized James Bond because that goes against what he is. He's not necessarily supposed to be a man, but the idea of an idealized man of that era. And it works. And you just make him the idealized version of that era and you bring him into a modern day setting. Daniel Craig is holding back the James Bond franchise. He doesn't want to play the role. He's slowing down production. If Brosnan was Bond, hypothetically, Die Another Day wasn't a good way to go out. So let's say we would have another James Bond movie by 2004. So there we go. We could have had 5 more Bond movies from Pierce Brosnan if they would have come out relatively fast. Because look at him. He is an older guy, but he's aged incredibly well. I don't watch Mamma Mia, but I see the commercials for it. If you would have colored his hair earlier on, you could have had Pierce Brosnan play James Bond until 2012 and ended on the 50th anniversary type of thing. I'll stick with that. And you know what? You could still bring him back. If you started a Bond movie that said 10 years from now, don't tell when now is, just 10 years from now. And then the gun barrel hits, and it's a future James Bond story, much like Old Man Logan. And it doesn't have to be sad or depressing. It can just be straight up James Bond doing his thing. That's why I like Die Hard 4, because it's one more run where McClane's doing his thing. So thank you, Brad Norris. Seriously, I love talking about Pierce Brosnan. When we get to our James Bond commentaries about GoldenEye, I'm going to gush for 2 hours. Same thing with The World's Not Enough and Die Another Day. Not Die Another Day, Tomorrow Never Dies. So, again, thank you, Brad Norris. So you don't want to make sure I don't forget anything because let's see, Quantum West shit. Jeff, we could probably get Heather Locklear out here. I'd love to get Heather Locklear on the show. I know she's going through some issues, but hey, everyone's welcome. I'll give her an internet hug. That random guy, 146, thank you very much. When do you think we'll be out of this creative rut that movies/comics are in? Will there ever be new, exciting, culturally important IPs? When will then be now? Soon. That random guy, to honestly answer your question, I think now's the time for people like us, people like you, people that have an inkling of an idea. Now's the time to act upon it. We live in an era where the internet is accessible by everyone. If you can't draw a comic, hire somebody to draw a comic. If you got an idea, work with somebody that's a writer. Get your idea out there, and you can create the next big thing. I think all it's going to need to take is a motivated individual. EVS has got the right idea. I'm going to follow suit with my idea. There are just people out there that care enough about entertainment that want to create new and things that aren't derivative. So I think we're on the precipice of that happening now. Look at Star Wars. The brand of brands is, out of steam. If it can happen with Star Wars, well, then it's happened with the biggest thing yet. It can happen to Marvel. Jurassic World and Jurassic Park are kind of in a weird place anyway. So I think you're getting that in the horror genre with a lot of interesting IPs. Like, I don't like The Purge that much, but that was new and unique, so they did try something new. And then they're doing it all the time. So when somebody out there creates something big, we can make that happen. So all you got to do, guys, is, like this channel, you've all been great and supportive. We just got to keep working together and make more stuff and, get it out there. So I think that random guy 146, now's the time that it's to do that. But when we'll be out of the creative rut when that happens, and if you want a more solid answer, I'd say give it 5 years, because we're going to start introducing the other more modern Marvel characters, and I think people are going to have had their fill, and they can't bully people into go to see these movies. So when like a Miss Marvel movie is not that huge of a hit, Marvel's going to have to try something. And now one would argue, oh, they're going to go back to what worked before. Well, everything that was old is new again, and they'll infuse it with a different take. Wild Warlock, thank you again. I've eaten shark heaps. We call it flake and fish and chip chops. Chip chops. Okay, there we go. Fish and chip chops. Also tried crocodile. It's like tough fish. Wombat equals pork. Emu equals dark duck. Kangaroo equals gamey beef. I would be willing to try it. I ate some interesting meats over the Thanksgiving weekend last year. I got really sick. So, based on your take of what you said right there, I'll go with wombat first, because I do enjoy a good roasted pork. So let's have some roasted wombat with a side of emu. Jim Bobo. Craig was Jason Bourne clone. Pierce is Bond. Thank you. Yeah, I remember going to see Quantum of Solace, and he did the thing where he like came up on the guy, and they did the shaky cam, and the guy got the glass in his neck, and he just kind of bled out. And they tried to make Jason Bourne Bond, or Bond Jason Bourne. Didn't work. They really went back to a more classic style with Skyfall and Spectre, and I appreciated those. I loved Skyfall the first time I saw it, and I still really like it. I really liked Spectre the first time I saw it too, and still like it enough. There are moments in Spectre that need help. I think it needs to be shortened a bit. But overall, I think Daniel Craig's Bond movies were starting to come into their own, and I was starting to like him a lot more. He's got to get bigger suits, though, man. Those suits are like riding his crotch, and it looks really fucking weird. That's like a Roger Moore fashion faux pas. That won't date very well. And yeah, I'm talking about James Bond's fashion. It's part of the character. A really big part of the character. That and what he eats. If you read the books, it talks about James Bond's diet quite a bit. Let's see. Where else are we at this morning? It's been a good morning, guys. Thanks for everyone that's been watching. Jaron Ricewig. Lucasfilm worked very hard to ruin Star Wars. Yeah, you do have to work hard to fuck it up that majorly. You have to get these right or wrong people, and I'm using, right in quotation marks. You have to get those people involved, and then you have to find a way for them to fuck it up beyond belief. But it happened quickly, Sometimes hard work pays off quickly, and there you go. Paul, I have not heard the rumor that Daniel Craig agreed to come back because of Tom Hardy playing Bond. I want Tom Hardy or anybody else as Daniel Craig. I don't even think Tom Hardy is the optimal choice. Just anybody but Craig at this point. ABC. Henry Cavill was almost James Bond. I think Henry Cavill's got the right look. He's got the demeanor. I'm going to sound like a snob. Bond's got to have dark hair and have a certain look about him. Daniel Craig is a squat little guy who looks like something James Bond would have killed in the 60s. I don't like him. If you're a woman that finds him attractive, awesome. That's for you to decide. But for somebody that likes James Bond, he's supposed to be the same character. He's not a code name. Let's get that out of the way. It's not a code name. It's not anything like that. It's just the guy. And all those adventures are his adventures. And he's supposed to look the same. And I'll go with the same with Roger Moore. It doesn't really look like Bond should. Connery, Lazenby, Dalton, Brosnan all look like they could be the same guy, an approximation of the same man. Craig, Moore, no thank you. My comic idea is my Harrison Ford idea, which we talk about on the podcast all the time. I'm going to talk to EVS this week and try to get a pitch ready for next week's High Council and have the Indiegogo roll, because it's a really great idea that I worked out the entire story of really quickly. Like, it just came to me. Like, I was at the gym and I was like, oh my God, this is the story. So I stopped what I was doing and I wrote it all down, and then I've been fleshing it out off there. So it's going to be exciting. I actually have a couple ideas for multiple stories. They're not superhero stories. They're very, in my opinion, they're very good one-offs. So I'll be talking about that. Don't worry. We have a super chat from the Grand Inquisitor. Get Lord Doomcock and Razorfist in a live stream together. It would probably break the internet, but whatever. All hail Lord Doomcock. Well, the Grand Inquisitor, I will throw out a feeler to Razorfist today. I was supposed to do it last night, but we were on really late after we went off the air. Doomcock was telling us great stories, and we were talking to him about stuff too. But let me throw it out to Razorfist today, because Razorfist is in a different time zone, and he has a really big channel. He's double what we have, more than that. So if I'm this busy with this, I can only imagine what he's busy with. So I will gladly try to get that worked out for you guys by the next time the High Council comes back to World Class Bullshitters. So thank you, the Grand Inquisitor. Alpha Terramina, did you see The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? Cavill was perfect for Bond material in that, in my opinion. Yes, Alpha Terramina, I did see The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I saw it in theaters. I liked it. It was what a nice... It worked. I feel like him in the suits with the haircut and stuff, if you made him a little more serious and made him more modern, you got the perfect modern-day James Bond. There's no reason that Superman can't be James Bond. It just doesn't matter. Maybe he'll finally get a role that people go, wow, that guy was great. I think Mission Impossible 6 is really going to help people see him in a different way outside of Superman. So Mission Impossible, what's out in a few weeks? We'll find out together, and we'll talk about that here on the channel. But yeah, Man from U.N.C.L.E. really set me up to agree more about that. Dalton was closest to the books, British Metalworks. Depends. I mean, remember in the books, James Bond's kind of a romantic. He is a womanizer, but he talks like dreams about getting married and stuff in the Goldfinger book. I like Dalton. I just hate License to Kill. If the Dalton movies, if there was a series of Dalton movies and they were all in the vein of The Living Daylights, cool. But I'm okay with Dalton being gone because it led to Pierce Brosnan. And I think Pierce Brosnan's a very important James Bond. S. Gamble, 121-628, thank you very much. Do we think Disney will ever realize that if they want to save the future of Star Wars, they'll need to do something about The Last Jedi? I think they understand behind the scenes. What they know behind the scenes and what we're told are two different things that we have to realize and remember. I don't know if they care to tell us in public, and we may never know. Maybe they'll quietly ignore it, and they'll quietly send out Rian Johnson, to pasture. Admitting guilt or fault is not the preferred way that Disney does business. So maybe they want to burn it down Seth Rollins style. They just don't give a shit. They've made the thing is they haven't really made their money back. Haven't people discussed that? They spent $4 billion and all the other things, and we don't know exactly what they've made yet. I'm sure it's broken even, but I don't know. I'd rather see more numbers. I have to spend money and other stuff in licensing and doing shit like that too, so it'd be fine. Get Doomcock and Please Rewind together, but consider Doomcock's friend anti-trekker for the High Council, please. Sure, Super Smash Brothers candidates. I'm already in contact with the guy from Please Rewind. Don't worry. We're going to make that happen in July. I've already talked to him via email. So maybe I'll try to get him, Doomcock, and Razorfist as a separate show. Do you guys want that, or do you just want him to be on the High Council? Because maybe I'll do both. I'll have some people on the High Council and a separate show, because we got to grow their audiences as well. Those are some really good YouTubers, and more people need to be able to hear them featured on a bigger platform. The reason Timothy Dalton didn't do more James Bond movies is because of a weird legal dispute between 1989 and 1995. So Dalton tapped out because he was tired of waiting, and then Pierce Brosnan was cast, and we had GoldenEye. So parts of GoldenEye were written for Timothy Dalton, and then Pierce Brosnan stepped in, and it's the movie that's the movie. It's the most, I'm going to say it, it's controversial, it's the most important James Bond movie. Goldfinger was the biggest, it's one that changed a lot, but remember, GoldenEye is the one that brought Bond back, because James Bond was considered a relic of the past and people didn't care about it. Here's an example. The Ace of Base, that shitty band that sings The Sign or It's a Beautiful Life that you don't even know about today, they were real popular back in the day, and they were approached to do the James Bond song. But they said that James Bond would never come back and that they were too big for it. Well, James Bond came back and has blown away Ace of Base. Does anyone even know who Ace of Base is? Probably not. So that's okay. But you see how the cultural climate was at the time. British Metalworks. Ian Fleming was an MI6, so his source is solid. Oh, I'm not debating anything about Ian Fleming. I was just saying there are certain elements to the Timothy Dalton portrayal that, I mean, I've read the books too, and I don't necessarily always think Timothy Dalton. The thing is, I like Timothy Dalton, but I just hate License to Kill. License to Kill was too little too late. If you would have had Dalton take over for Roger Moore in 1983, and you would have done License to Kill in a post Scarface world where it was a cocaine cowboy style Miami Vice infused James Bond movie, you would have had something really cool and unique and something that would have stood the test of time. But like I said, License to Kill was just too little too late. But I'm never going to sit here and shit on Dalton. Love The Living Daylights. Top 5 favorite movies. Thank you, Craig Thompson. I appreciate your compliment about my work ethic. I do all the time. So I appreciate that. Scotty Bates, thank you and good morning. I share your love for Pierce Brosnan as he was my Bond growing up as well. But come on, Casino Royale fucking rules. The later films, not so much. Casino Royale is a good Bond movie. I remember being very anti-Daniel Craig, and then I saw the movie and I said, hey, this is great. I bought the DVD. I've watched it a bunch. I don't like the beginning half. Like, I love the first, 5 minutes from when he gets the 00 and then the credits. I don't really love... I hate the free-running scene and the whole African embassy part. I don't like that at all. I don't like the movie until he gets on the train. Once he gets on the train with Eva Green, then I'm invested. It's a Bond movie to me. Before that, it's something else that I'm really not a fan of. And they tried to go back to that style of storytelling with Quantum of Solace. And then once we got to the later ones, we went back to classic James Bond. Like I say on the show, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think the Bond formula, you can adapt it in a very modern setting, and it works. I'd actually like to see, if you want to make something new and unique, make Bond the bad guy. Make him, like, his reasoning be objectively bad, but he's our hero, so we're, like, sympathizing with him, but he's doing terrible things. I think that would be an interesting James Bond flick. Not necessarily him going rogue again, but, make the British political interest not in line with the rest of the world. You can have a really interesting story. And I think the British population's smart enough to not get too offended and triggered. Then again, I don't know how they work over there in terms of their internet usage and stuff, so I don't want to speak for all of them. But Casino Royale, enjoy it. I actually own 3 copies of Casino Royale. The DVD, the basic Blu-ray, and the box set. So I don't shit on Casino Royale. I think it's got a cool car, and a beautiful Bond girl, and a pretty interesting villain. But I'll take GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, and The World's Not Enough over it. Just saying. But that boat chase, man, from The World's Not Enough, so awesome. Let's see. We had another super chat from Wild Warlock. Favorite movie music score, favorite South Park season, and finally, favorite Ace of Base song. Wait, never mind the last question. Well, you asked it. So Ace of Base best song is All That She Wants Is Another Baby? I don't know. That's the first one I thought of. Favorite music score from a movie is Beverly Hills Cop, hands down. I listen to it every single day, and I'm not exaggerating. There's not a single day that goes by that I don't listen to something from the score. And I'm not just talking the song Axel F. I'm kind of a snob to where, like, Axel F isn't good enough. I'm going to listen to a specific scene from the movie. So Beverly Hills Cop score is the soundtrack to my everyday life. And part 2 is a close second. Favorite South Park season? The last full season I watched was the PC Principal one. I watched every episode of that in a day with Hillary. I like South Park enough, but I don't follow it to where, like, I can tell you every season like I can with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Animated shows, a lot of times they tend to run together for me. Not because they're bad or boring. It's because they, I don't know. I don't follow them the same way. South Park is a good show, and I'm not here to dump on it, but I don't have a favorite season. But they're better than Ace of Base. And I love the movie. Let's see. A lot of people are giving love to The Living Daylights. That's awesome. Cool. If you haven't checked it out, folks, make sure you check out The Living Daylights alternate theme song. It's written by Aha, the same people that do the one in the movie, but it's way different, and I prefer it to the one that's in the movie. Duran Duran did a View to a Kill's theme song. and it was epic. I agree 100%. Let's see. Top 5 of all time. I guess you're asking about the Bond flicks. Goldeneye, From Russia with Love, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Living Daylights, Live and Let Die. There we go. Top 5 James Bond movies. There we go. Worst Bond girl. Holly Goodhead's pretty lame. Octopussy's pretty lame. Oh man, there's some bad ones. Jinx is pretty lame too. System Terror, You Think That Tomorrow Never Dies by Sheryl Crow is the best modern era Bond theme. It's a very good song. If you haven't had the chance, check out Surrender by Katie Lang, the actual theme song written for the movie, and it's used throughout the score. And then they changed it at the last minute because Sheryl Crow is popular. So that's kind of an interesting little tidbit right there. But both songs are really good. I think I prefer Surrender, but I still love the real Tomorrow Never Dies song. So I'm all about that. Craig, that's cool that you liked Quantum of Solace more than Skyfall. Like I always say on this show, we don't all want to have the same opinions because it'd be a boring show. Oh, I agree. It'd be the agreement hour with Jeff Hicks, and it would just be me going, agree. Do you want that? Maybe one time it'd be funny, but after a while, I'd fucking lose my shit. The second half of Casino Royale was very faithful to the book. Yeah. I wish it would have ended exactly the way the book did. The bitch is dead. It's over. Not, extra shit. But that's okay. I did love the Mr. White thing. I liked the idea of Quantum being the next Spectre, but then there was Spectre, so I think there was a lot of confused good ideas that never really played out in the early Daniel Craig movies. And now that you've allowed Daniel Craig to have more control than an actor should in the fate of the film franchise, we're kind of like in a weird gray area. James Coburn as Flint. I've seen In Like Flint. That's Austin Powers' favorite movie. Do I think the Bond movies set during the Soviet era are better than the ones post-Soviet Union? No. Well, the thing is, there's so many during the Soviet era. That's kind of a hard question to answer. I mean, we're looking at what? 14? Okay, it was Goldeneye 16? No, Goldeneye 17. Tomorrow Never Dies is 18. Rosenhoff is 19. Diner is 20. So 16 during that. Well, when did the wall go down? What part of 89? Let's just throw The Living Daylights as the last Soviet Bond flick. It's more than half prior to the Soviet Union's downfall. So, yeah, just in terms of numbers and quality of films, but I still stand by Goldeneye. Goldeneye is a weird one, though, because it's like the first real post-Soviet one that deals with that, and I think that's an interesting dynamic that they touch on quite well in the movie. But yeah, Abomino, that's a great question. Looks like some people like the idea as Bond is the bad guy. Thank you. I just think that'd be cool and interesting. British Metalworks. Sean as Bond dies in the first scene. Sean Bean as Bond. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. I'm pretty sure Sean Bean was almost James Bond at one point in time. Finish the job, James. Blow them all to hell. That was my first introduction to Sean Bean, like a lot of people. I didn't even realize he was in Patriot Games. Or is he in Clear and Present Danger? Which one's he in? I guess he's in Patriot Games. No, he's in Clear and Present Danger. I'm sorry. Those two movies run together. They came out really close together, and it's just Jack Ryan movies. So long live Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan. English people got triggered by my comment. Cool. Yes, System Error, you are correct. It's a Bond origin film. They don't even play the theme until the end credits. The thing is, I did like that, how they start to play it and then they infuse it into the Casino Royale, You Know My Name song. It's a nice thematic approach. I got to give David Arnold credit. I know a lot of people shit on him because he infused like a techno-style beat to James Bond, but he also brought back the classic James Bond score. I love Goldeneye, but the music's iffy at best. Tomorrow Never Dies brings back the classic big brassy Bond theme, especially for the part called Company Car, where Bond gets the car at the airport in Germany. That's cool. That was a cool return to that. There's the twanging guitar, all kinds of shit like that. So the way they waited to do the theme song was great. I liked that. Remember, folks, Casino Royale came out during the post-Batman Begins era, where Batman Begins was really like the first of the big reboot kickoff. Bond was quick to follow suit, and we had a lot of stuff. So all the movies are always a product of their time, and for better or worse, Casino Royale is a product of 2006. You had really bad product placement. You had that we were in that post Jason Bourne era where everyone was trying to be like that. Hell, even the first Star Trek from J.J. Abrams had the shaky cam and stuff like that. That's something that I'm glad we no longer live in. I like being able to see wide shots, and I like to know what's going on screen. So that's more important than cool shit. Let's see. Rabid Jawa, your choice for next James Bond actor. I mean, I really do stand by Henry Cavill. If I can't have Henry Cavill, I won't say Benedict Cumberbatch or Michael Fassbender. They're both very good actors, and it's not because they play superheroes or supervillains that they can't be in the role. I just don't think they have the physicality needed. And I know this sounds contradictory what I'm saying, but Daniel Craig's like overly buff and a different type. James Bond's supposed to be able to like blend into a crowd. Yeah, he's this like handsome guy in quotations, but overall his physique and stuff, he's supposed to just be able to slide in and out. He's supposed to be the last one you expect. A guy like me as James Bond, everybody recognizes me in public, so I'm not right for that role. And I think an overly buff guy draws attention to himself, no matter good or bad attention. So Rabid Jawa, I'm gonna go with Henry Cavill would be my ideal next choice. If Tom Hardy were to play 007 next, fine. I think Tom Hardy can be great in certain things and okay in other things. And between great and okay, might be good enough. Might be better than Daniel Craig. Let's see. Wild Warlock. You're trapped Saul style with Kendo, Dion, and Nick. It's a kill, marry, fuck situation. Who would get the role? Suicide isn't an option. Oh my god. I guess Kendo's dying because he's first one in, first one out. Sorry, Nick, your butthole is toast, and I guess I'll marry Dion. Whatever. There you go. There's your answer, Wild Warlock. God damn. Alpha Terra Nemo, Mission Impossible and Bond crossover. Oh man, 1996, Jeff would have cried tears of joy. Like I've said before, I used to rent Mission Impossible and watch GoldenEye and those movies back to back. Love the spy movies, a lot of fun. That would be really crazy to see that Ethan Hunt and James Bond and today. Like, I think that could be the future of Hollywood, where you have crazy crossovers that you never thought would happen, and you can bring in big audiences. And basically, it could be a game of one-upsmanship. We had Bond and Mission Impossible. What are you going to do? Well, we got Godzilla and King Kong. Well, we got Star Wars and Star Trek. Well, those are both shitty now, but still, you get the idea that, like, the craziest things. Well, we got the Avengers and the Justice League. Like, holy shit, what do? You just make the craziest balls to the wall spectacle that you can't get anywhere else because you have the money to make it. Ahem, my eyes are up here, says Sean Bean should cameo as Uncle Ben in a flashback scene for the new Spider-Man. Oh my god. Can Sean Bean do a convincing American accent? If he puts on like 30 pounds and, hams it up, sure, we'll have Sean Bean back as Uncle Ben. If we ever make World Class Bullshitters the TV show, we'll hire Sean Bean to die in the intro of every episode. That would be incredible. Welcome to World Class Bullshitters, and then Sean Bean dies. It's like Kenny from South Park, except with Sean Bean. Maybe we'll pay the licensing fees and get clips of everyone at his death. We'll just show him on air. The invisible car was stupid. I agree with that. 100%. I thought that was pretty dumb. I just wasn't a fan. Sire J. Longstroke, don't watch The Last Jedi again. Think about it, but don't do it. Every time you think about watching The Last Jedi again, squeeze a little bit of lemon in your eye and do something else. Ross Skywalker likes the BMW scene in Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, I like it too. I think that's one of the best car chases in all of Bond. It's different. It's not about being a high-speed car chase over a wide expanse of land. It's a parking garage, and Bond's not even driving it, by the steering wheel. He's using his phone in the back. There are a lot of Pierce Brosnan elements that were ahead of their time that hold up today. Controlling a car by your phone, Elliot Carver's control of the media. I think I need to sit down and work on a video essay about Elliot Carver's plan being the most progressive James Bond villain plot and why today it's essentially where we are with Facebook and stuff like that. I don't think enough people give those movies the respect they deserve because they just listen to people, oh, Die Another Day is shitty. It is shitty, but the other ones weren't as shitty or shitty at all. Denise Richards shitty. Halle Berry shittier. Lives in Flames. I also would like the Mission Impossible TV series on Blu-ray. Well before I die. Let's get it on Blu-ray by Christmas. Black Friday, please. That'd be a lot of fun. Oh, Alan Partridge's James Bond performance. I love that one. I love Alan Partridge. Steve Coogan is incredible. Oh my god. Now I think I'm going to watch it after I get off air today. So thank you, System Air. That's what we're doing. Netflix don't show a lot of things outside of the U.S. Well, Jeffrey Toon, Netflix doesn't show a lot of shit inside the U.S. too. I'm pretty sure you guys, if you're in the U.K., have the Monty Python collection because that was a thing that was shared on Facebook. We don't have that on Netflix, and when we do, I'm going to watch it all because I'm a big fan of British entertainment. They have Are You Being Served? No, they have Keeping Up Appearances on Netflix, or at least they did for years, and that's a show I would watch all the time. My Saturdays were consumed by that, Are You Being Served, and the Red Green Show. Didn't have cable as a kid, but PBS kicked enough ass to keep me entertained. Aston Martin's Our Perfection. I want one so bad. Maybe we'll steal one together. Do I collect Bond cars on Hot Wheel? Yes, I do, Centurion Rex. I have... Oh, God. Over on my shelf, I got the DB5, the Lotus, the BMW Z3. Well, technically, that's a Johnny Lightning car, but still, same scale. The one from Spectre, those at the DB9. I got the big Aston Martin from Hot Wheels. Yeah, I collect anything James Bond. I mean, if you put a Bond logo on it, I'm going to buy it. I hate to say it. I look like Fozzie Bear. Cool. Waka Waka. Give the role to Ben Affleck. No, we do not give the role to Ben Affleck. I'm seeing a lot of love for Ronin in the chat. Ronin is a good movie. That's a lot of fun. That's Jean Reno, right? Don't waste your time with these crappy Disney Star Wars films. Don't watch it on Netflix, guys. Spend your time having a good time. No, the man with the hat, if you listened earlier in, I don't advocate that you guys unsubscribe because of The Last Jedi. That was stated very early in the chat. Oh, come on, Captain. Don't shit on German cars. I have one. Then again, I kind of, had to get one. People are talking about Monty Python. My favorite one is The Meaning of Life. Nikolaj Coaster, why do? Never heard of that guy. I'll check him out when I get off air later on. The Lancelot battle charge was the best. I don't know what movie you're talking about. I'm sorry. No, I have not seen Incredibles 2. Eventually, maybe. It took me a while to see the first one, but I'm in no rush. I'm not even worried that it's got SJW politics infused with it. I don't know. I'm kind of busy. I'm not really too interested with The Incredibles 2. Oh, he plays Jaime Lannister on Game of Thrones. Only seen the first episode of Game of Thrones. Wasn't for me. If a woman had to be Bond, how do you think it would work without pissing off the legacy? Well, Child of the Flower, I don't think it's possible because the character of Bond is a dude. There's no daughter to take over the role. You don't just, because it's not like a legacy thing where the name's Bond and it means something. James Bond is a trained killer who just somehow doesn't have kids. Maybe he was sterilized by the government. Maybe he just pulls out in time. I don't know. But you can't have a female Bond. If you want, here's the thing. It's like that, like they do with SJW Entertainment. Don't try to put the politics in that. Create a new franchise. Oh, wait, that doesn't work. Assault was kind of a hit, but it wasn't what they wanted to be. Proud Mary was a massive flop. Red Sparrow didn't set the world on fire. We don't have a good track record. Throwing a woman into Bond and making it James Bond as a woman isn't going to work. It inherently goes against everything that is James Bond. It's a dude. Women have watched the movies for decades. Putting a woman in it isn't going to get a new audience. Putting out awesome movies on a consistent basis will get you an audience. Give these people something that is worth waiting for, and don't make them wait forever. The James Bond timeline used to be every other year. Actually in the beginning it was every year from 63 through 65 we had 4 Bond movies, or 62 through 65 we had 4 Bond movies. Then we took a 2-year gap, and we essentially had a 2-year gap with one exception from 1967 to 1989. I mean, that's the kind of a schedule you can count on. That's how you keep people coming back and just give them something cool. I mean, we're 5 years for this one, 6 years for that one. What are we, 3 years removed from Spectre with another year? That's a 4-year gap. Come on, guys. You got time. We can get a Star Wars movie every 5 minutes. Why can't we get a James Bond movie every other year? The production is not that intense. Just find somebody that wants to play the role and give us a string of good stories. I think people will be in. Look at the Marvel movies. Logan Michael, the new Terminator is going to suck. Well, thank you very much for that. And yeah, if the last 2, I'll say the last 3, I don't have much faith for the Terminator franchise whatsoever. And the man with the hat, you do not have to apologize to me. I just wanted to let you know that I said that at the beginning of the hour. I said, you don't have to cancel it for that. I want to cancel Netflix for many other reasons, Star Wars not being one of them. But yeah, the man with the hat, like I said, don't apologize to me. It's a show. We're having a good time. So it's all good. How about Centurion Rex? My weakness, talking about goddamn toys. How about other movie icon cars such as Hot Wheels, Batmobile, DeLorean, Time Machine, etc.? Well, go back and watch my stream from Saturday night. It's a bit long, but about halfway through I start showing a lot of my toy collection. Next to me I have a Batman 89 Batmobile. I have like 15 or 35 DeLorean Time Machines, more than just Hot Wheels. I have a 1/18th scale from Sunstar Collectibles, a couple smaller scale ones. I have the Hot Wheels ones, parts 1 and 2. I actually have 20 Hot Wheels DeLoreans that I got. They were the dollar versions, not the good ones with the rubber wheels. But I just bought the whole sleeve of them at Walmart. I said, you know what? I love this movie. There's a reason why I have to own all these. And there's not, but I have 20 of them, so whatever. Other cars, I like Miami Vice, so I have the Spider, the Daytona Spider, the fake Ferrari, the faux Rari, if you will. I like cars. Like, down the road, when I can swing it, I will have more than one car. And, I'll take great pleasure in owning multiple cars. But yeah, I got tons of replica toy cars. I got anything with James Bond on it, I got it. Even like the 50s Ford from Dr. No or the Corvette from A View to a Kill. I got it. So thank you, Centurion Rex. Jane Bond's got a gun. All right, if Aerosmith does the theme song, I'll take back every negative thing I had to say about Jane Bond. What do I think of the new Predator of Predators, old chap? I saw the first trailer. I haven't seen the second one yet. I didn't like it. Am I willing to give the movie a chance? Sure. I like when they revive old franchises with the people that helped or, know how to make a good series of movies. So we'll see when we get to September. Look at the flack over the female Doctor Who. Yeah, I know some people like to play cool about it and say, hey, we got to wait and see. You don't have to wait and see. You don't have to watch it. No one can force you. If you don't want to watch it, awesome. Fine by me. Don't. I'm not going to watch it. Is it because I'm sexist? No, it's because I haven't even watched Peter Capaldi Doctor Who. So I'm so far behind. I've pretty much given up on the show. Plus, the fan base has kind of driven me out. Yeah, I'll say it. If you're a Doctor Who fan and a World Class Bullshitters fan, awesome. That's not an attack on you. But the people that I've met in person are just very, I don't know, they weren't very friendly. So I just kind of moved away from the Doctor Who fandom, but that's okay. I still have the Tennant episodes and the Matt Smith and the Christopher Eccleston stuff, and I'm still in it. Like, I will throw money at Doctor Who stuff that features David Tennant in a heartbeat. And if he were to come back, I'll come back to the show. I think because I was so attached to David Tennant as Doctor Who, that's why I don't feel the same way. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way about, like I do with Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, but I still love James Bond movies. Some people like that with Sean Connery as James Bond. That was your first time. You remember it. You appreciate it. Wild Warlock. Hold on. I read your name. I'll get your super chat in just a second. Brendan Horn. Thank you very much. Have I watched any Top Gear? Fucking love it. Yes, I've watched Top Gear. Top Gear is the perfect Sunday show that you just put it on and you sit and stare at it. I like that kind of culture. If I was some rich millionaire, that's the kind of lifestyle I'd have. I like watches. I was actually gifted an Omega Seamaster, the same watch James Bond wears. So expensive watches, fast cars, faster women. That's the Top Gear lifestyle. That's my lifestyle. I wish. Soon we can make it happen. Claustoric, what's the most valuable toy I have? Well, Claustoric, in terms of money value, my Hot Toys 89 Batman has jumped up to $500. Now, I do own the entire collection of the SH Figure Arts Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and those go for like almost $1,000 for the entire set. So if we're doing just one item, I guess it would be Hot Toys Batman, but that set of SH Figure Arts Power Rangers are valuable as shit. Now, for those who think, oh, Jeff, you spent $1,000 on Power Rangers figures? No, sir. When I bought them, they were $39 a piece. I can't help that they jumped up to like $250 a pop. It's a good investment on my end. I take great pride in knowing that I bought something that I loved early on because I loved it, and now it's worth a ton of money. It makes me laugh and smile. So Claustoric, I think those are the most valuable things I own. In terms of nostalgia, what's most valuable to me? Oh, probably The Rock. I mean, you can get another one for $5, but I do love that toy. Wild Warlock. Welcome back, my friend. Next Bond movie has a villain that is the movie executive that plans to destroy a beloved franchise from the inside by infesting the brand with SJW shit. Ooh, those are the worst type of villains. I hope they hope they suffer the same death as Milton Crest or Dr. Kananga. Explosion. Charming Curmudgeon, what advice would I give you for starting a YouTube channel? I like to answer these questions because, like I always say, when everyone's doing well, everyone's doing well. So it doesn't do me any good to hold any information. First off, Charming Curmudgeon, you got to be consistent. You got to give yourself to it. I've had a lot of success because I've focused solely on the YouTube channel. I don't say this in a bragging way, but we've grown by it, 6 times since the year started, and we're only in the 6th month. So that's been really good. I just do this full time. I have a personal life and friends and stuff like that, but you got to make time for this morning show. It's been a success. Hundreds and thousands of people have watched it every day. I get up, I make sure it happens every day, no matter how late I'm up the night before. So you got to have that dedication. You got to be consistent. You got to give people something that they can count on. Like me showing up in the morning is going to happen. Maybe there are times where you guys don't get the notifications, but no. That Tuesday through Friday morning at 7:45 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jeff's going to be here with Good Morning Pop Culture, and we're going to talk about all of entertainment. Like today, we talked some Star Wars. We talked about a lot of James Bond. It changes every day, so you guys kind of got to get here for it all. But I always make myself consistent. Same thing with the podcast. I have not missed a single week of a podcast since we debuted almost 3 years ago. Consistency is key. Keeping yourself relevant is key. Altering what works and what doesn't work is key too. If you have a formula that's working, you go for it. If you have stuff that isn't working, you alter it. Listen to your audience. Don't let your ego get the best of you. Don't respect the people that give you their time to watch your channel. Just be thankful for every little bit of growth. If you start out with 1 subscriber and you jump to 50, take that as a huge accomplishment. Don't say, I only got 50 subscribers. Think about how much you've grown and then keep going from there. And it'll work. Just be consistent and find your voice and give the people what they want. And, it'll work out for you. So, Charming Curmudgeon, I hope people check out your channel in the future. And, that's my advice. Logan Michael, who should play the new Wolverine? How about Logan Michael? New Wolverine. I'm not ready emotionally for a new Wolverine, honestly. I think it should be nobody. But if I have to give you one, what was it, Scott Eastwood? Is that what somebody's saying? I've heard that name thrown around. Put it like this. No one's going to compare to Hugh Jackman. It's not like anyone's going to bring anything new. We've had Hugh Jackman for close to 20 years. That's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be like an Alden Ehrenreich situation. That guy will always be compared to Hugh Jackman just because of the length of time. Now, if Hugh Jackman played Wolverine for X-Men 1 through 3 and Origins, and then somebody came in with the next, like the Wolverine other ones, maybe it'd be a different story. But there we go. That's my best answer for you. We'll say Scott Eastwood, if anyone at all. Let's see. John Snyder, $2 for your Top Gear lifestyle, Jeff. Thank you very much, John Snyder. First is going to be the World-Class Bullshitter Studio. And then once we take over the world, the Top Gear lifestyle will follow suit. And I'll chronicle it. I'll get into vlogging. We'll talk about, check out the calipers on my new Aston Martin type of thing. It'll be fun. We'll all enjoy it. And if you're ever in the area when I have the Top Gear lifestyle, I'll give you a ride in my car anywhere you want to go. Let's see. I had a couple. Panda says, "Do you hear Fandom Fest postpone the event?" Panda, that's interesting that you bring up Fandom Fest. I've worked Fandom Fest. It was an interesting experience. Not a good one, not necessarily a bad one, but an interesting one. Now, last year's Fandom Fest was a shit show. So, Panda, you don't have to respond to this one. If you've heard about it, just let me know with an F or something. But, folks, if you go to conventions, you know the kind of halls they overtake. Big convention centers with tons of space. Last year, Fandom Fest was in an abandoned Dillard's in a shopping mall. So, the convention basically pre-sold all this shit, and it was a dumpster fire. And you know what? Sometimes when these conventions screw people over, like Fandom Fest has to some vendors, you want to be angry. But remember, folks, it's the people like the vendors that spend the money that get hurt the most, even more so than the fans. I've worked these shows where you put in $1,000 and you may make $200 and you're left with all this merchandise to sell at another show, but you didn't do well. And that kind of stuff hurts. So when Fandom Fest either postpones events or, they just do stuff wrong, it hurts the little guy more than the people that produce the show itself. Fandom Fest postponing their event does not surprise me, Panda. If anything, I'm surprised that they just didn't outright cancel the convention indefinitely. It was a poorly run show from what I've experienced and what more people have told me about. And normally, I did badly there. Haha, let me laugh at its failure. No, people are going to suffer from it. There are a lot of really great artists and people that make their living on the road at these conventions. I know quite a few people. That used to be me for a while. It's a rough lifestyle, and you don't wish bad on anybody. So I'm surprised to hear about that. Let's see. RoboCop Hot Toys were amazing. Most Hot Toys were amazing. I'm going to go with that. Hot Toys with a shiznit. Let's see. So we're all caught up on Super Chats. Now let's see what else we got. Yes, much love to you too, Darth Hammer. Jane Bond, Dr. No Balls. I saw Octothrobber earlier as I was scrolling down. I love those titles, guys. If I knew how to paint better, or paint at all, I can draw, I can't paint. But if I knew how to paint, we would do a series of those pulp novels with Jane Bond and the worst innuendos ever. If you guys want me to make that into a series of shirts, we'll contact some people and make it happen. Johnny Five says his shit smells like tuna. Interesting. Cecil is Felix Leiter. I'm fine with that. Logan Michael, thank you very much for your super chat. Talk your favorite toy line. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, original run, 93 to 95. Nothing was better for me. I've never been as invested in the it was the happiest time for me. I was a little kid. I didn't have to go to school yet. It was fun. Like my whole world was just play Power Rangers and be good, and it was great. I will say this though, where we are now at the channel and stuff, I don't really look back and miss being a kid anymore because life's awesome. Yeah, I got responsibilities, but the stuff I do that I'm responsible for is awesome. We get to do cool shows like this and hang out with people and talk entertainment, and people are always here. So I'm thankful for that. But Power Rangers in a roundabout way, still, I got a Power Ranger collectible coming in the mail. I can't wait to get. So Logan Michael, when I do another live stream on a Saturday night, I will show that to you guys. Hugh Hoyland, my favorite Bond is Pierce Brosnan tied with Sean Connery. I think they're both excellent. And yeah, I'm going to say excellent. I think one thing people don't give Pierce Brosnan enough credit for is he's one of the Bonds that shows the real dark side of being Bond. Connery was very glamorous. We knew what he was doing. He was very tongue-in-cheek, too. So if people say he's too other Bonds are too jokey, Connery was making jokes from the very beginning. But what I really think about when I think of Pierce Brosnan Bond is when he's sitting down in that hotel room in Tomorrow Never Dies, and it's after he's at the party for Elliot Carver, and he thinks about Paris Carver and what he could have had, and he's putting the silencer on his gun, he's drinking straight vodka, and he's depressed. Like, that's the side of Bond that we don't see in all the movies, but that's the side of Bond that his life really mostly is. And I think Brosnan did a great job of portraying that, as well as the funnier, more action-filled moments. He runs the emotional gamut. Connery covers one thing, and Connery's so slick and cool and fun, but Pierce Brosnan brings another level that I don't think enough people give him credit to. They always say he's wooden. No, he's not. WCBS custom rims. I hope you're talking about cars and not the other type, because I saw Lando Calrissian's comment earlier. Jane Bond and Sky Mall. Lando, winner. That's my favorite title. That not the throbber. Kmart spinners, maybe. John Snyder, here's some change, bum. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it. You can call me a bum. Juice Stainiff says, Pierce Brosnan is a good Bond. I just don't like his films except for Goldeneye. Cool, man. I get it. At least you love Goldeneye. That movie is so awesome. If you haven't watched Tomorrow Never Dies in a long time, go back and think of Mark Zuckerberg as Elliot Carver. Kind of interesting. Logan Michael, thank you again. Last night I got a Topps Daredevil 2003 card with a piece of leather from the movie. Ooh. That sounds kind of cool, actually. I do like those trading cards that have like an authentic piece from a movie set or a wrestling ring. I didn't really think, I mean, obviously they're old trading cards, like you said, from 2003, but are trading cards really a thing anymore? I only see them at the dollar store for like $1 for 4 cards. So the printing costs are pricey. I don't know if they still did trading cards. I know Star Wars has had a really long lineage of trading cards, especially the C-3PO Boner trading card. And if you don't know what that is, Google it after the show today and let me know if you found it. But Logan Michael, make sure you put that card up. Put it in one of those cool cases. Keep it away from direct sunlight. And, rub it in your friend's face. It's like, yo, look what I got. Ross Skywalker, I got the flip heads in the box. Oh, my God. I'm glad you referred to them as the flip heads, too. I know they're called the Automorphin Power Rangers, but my God, they were just the flip heads as a kid. I had them all. I still do. Blue Rangers on my shelf. None are in the box. Played with all my toys. But they're still in really good shape, and they were so much fun. I still preferred the bigger Power Rangers figures because they had more articulation, and you could, I don't know, you couldn't take them as many places because they were so giant, but they were fun, and especially the Talking White Ranger. That was one of my all-time favorites because I think Tommy was one of the few ones that had the actual voice. What's my all-time favorite fast food toy? Well, my all-time favorite fast food toy was probably the 90s Batman from the animated series because it looked like the cartoon, which was cool. I also liked the Batman Returns Batmobile from the 90s. I know Batman seems to have dominated my childhood, but he did. It was an awesome time to be a James Bond fan. Johnny 5, do I like the 30th anniversary 2008 Star Wars figures? I do. I don't necessarily like the selection of everyone, but I do like that line. I don't like the Han Solo choice. But that style of figure, that type of articulation and detail is pretty much what I consider should be the gold standard for modern toys, but they're not. So that was not the beginning of the end. I'd say 2012 was the beginning of the end when they introduced the Phantom Menace vintage line. Thank you. Who said that? Necomicon? Hold on. I want to give a shout out to them because they said they're watching this work. Necronomicon, watching your live stream while at work. I didn't want to miss it. Well, thank you for watching me at work. I hope the people around you can hear it. No, honestly, all joking aside, thank you guys for making the morning show possible. As long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep doing it. Generic Edgelord, there he is. Thank you very much, Generic Edgelord. Finally got a hold of the full Dawn of the Jedi series. Now it's on to Star Wars Republic series. No wallet. The pain won't stop just yet. I think it can take a beating, much like Dihon's liver. It's gonna be okay. A lot of Jane Bondage comments. I'm really loving these. Logan Michael, how did you react when the dude who played the Red Ranger killed his roommate? Well, Logan Michael, I heard about that, but because it wasn't the original Mighty Morphin, I didn't care. Not that I don't care that somebody was murdered, but I don't follow those actors. The only one that I follow outside of the original run was Serena Vincent because she was hot and she was also in Cabin Fever and Not Another Teen Movie. So I don't really know any of the other actors' names outside of... Like, I can't even tell you the girl who played the second Pink Ranger on Mighty Morphin. Her name's Kat on the show. I don't know her real name. So I was a big fan of that one specific version of the show, but not necessarily the entire franchise, if that makes sense. Like when older people are like, oh, this version and that version, Samurai Pirate Ship or whatever. I'm like, if it's not Zordon and Alpha 5, I just don't know it or care. But I'm surprised when any like celebrity kills somebody else. The one that got me recently, who was the one that was Farrah Fawcett's son? He went on a crime rampage, a crime spree, and almost killed people. Like, if you guys don't know who Farrah Fawcett is, she's that 70s chick on everyone's wall. And if you don't know that, Charlie's Angels, the hot, famous blonde who died the day before Michael Jackson. And most people don't remember that because, I mean, come on, Michael Jackson, cultural icon. Farrah Fawcett, cultural icon, but from another era and not at the same level as Michael Jackson. Enter Bay 1/4 figures are breathtaking. Check out Joker, Batman, Terminators. Dan, I'm aware of the Enter Bay 1/4 scale figures. Currently, 1/4 scale figures are a hard sell to me only because I lack the space for them, but the quality is matching that of Hot Toys, and I'm definitely into that. So down the road, when, after we get a bigger place in the studio and all that stuff, maybe some Enter Bay stuff can enter my collection. Sorry for the shitty pun. Charming Curmudgeon, anytime you need advice, my friend, you just ask me. I will gladly help anyone figure out how to make their place on YouTube. Because contrary to what people say about Adpocalypse and this and that, YouTube's growing. There's a lot of options that they've given us creators recently after VidCon, and so I need to do research for that. But don't worry about YouTube disappearing. The internet is really the future of all entertainment. And if you can find a place here, you can really make yourself a long-standing legacy. Jane Bond, from Russia, my Russians. Live and let free bleed. This Jane Bond stuff is really taking on a life of its own. Please don't let it stop, guys. I'm not going to tell you to stop anytime soon. Power Rangers in Space was the last one I was really invested in. It seems relevant since President of the United States aims to start a space force. When he said that, I thought of the Space Olympics, the year 2030 or 3022. Maybe we'll get that. Maybe the Lonely Island was right about their song. Adam Lowe suggested Dr. No means no. Oh, man. Okay, that one's fucking awesome. That was awesome. Hey, Hiram Bigelow, what's up to you, my friend? That's a name I definitely recognize. So, folks, we're going to close this stream out. It's been a very good morning here on Good Morning Pop Culture. I've had a lot of fun, as always. Thank you for everyone who stuck around and letting me talk about James Bond for a couple of hours. Like I said, I never tire about talking about that. Star Wars, I don't tire of talking about it either. So your questions, all those things are always welcome. As long as it's entertainment, it has a place here on Good Morning Pop Culture. So, folks, make sure we do not forget tonight's Patreon live hangout. If you're a patron, even just $1 level, you are welcome to join and be on the show and have a good time. And Anthony Mata says, live and let bleed. We have one fan that sends us that kind of entertainment, and maybe he could get into it, but not us. So thank you, Anthony Mata. Okay. Oh, the spy who loved #MeToo. That might be my favorite one. That and Dr. No means no. Holy shit, that was awesome. Thank you, John. I will forever be indebted to you for throwing your change. Thanks for not hitting me in the face. I greatly appreciate it. But all joking aside, folks, be back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Patreon hangout. It's a thank you to everyone who helps the channel on that front. We'll talk about whatever they want and whatever you guys want. So it'll be a very informal hangout, but it'll be a lot of fun. I can guarantee you that. And then be back tomorrow morning for Good Morning Pop Culture, where we discuss pop culture. And I'll be back tomorrow night as well with World Class Bullshitters. So thank you, Logan Michael. I will have a good one. Also, folks, if you want to suggest a movie that we watch for this weekend's live watch party, I need to get suggestions as soon as possible, and I need to see a lot of people seconding those movies. So our summer watch parties, they're not even summer watch parties. They're just watch parties. They're a part of the channel now. They're a lot of fun. So if you guys want to, pick movies and stuff, throw your suggestions at us. We love to talk about it. We just need a couple days to get the film, and we'll give you a couple days to get the film as well. So I'll be back in a few hours. And yeah, Kevithar, you're welcome. Watch Willow. Ooh, I don't know. They Live. Definitely. Yeah, Willow could happen. I haven't seen that movie in like 25 years, so it's a long time coming for me. True Romance, I do owe you guys a True Romance thing, as well as a what is that one? Buckaroo Banzai. So there's a lot of yeah. They Live. I want to watch They Live. We'll get to They Live really soon. Don't worry, I can't forget about They Live. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Thank you, Centurion Rex. I will have a great day. You guys have definitely helped me start my day well, and we're going to help you close out yours tonight. So I'll be back in just a few short hours. Make sure you're here for that. And as always, thank you. This has been Good Morning Pop Culture.